If you are a fan of Tales from the Crypt, this scary video is right up your alley. Published by Proving Demons in October of 2021, this video welcomes you to the land of the no longer living. When they arrive on site, the first thing that greets them is a cemetery.
Oh, it's a cemetery.
There's a cemetery here.
Navigating through brambles down to a lower entrance, they arrive at a barbed wire fence. It's clear that the owners didn't want anyone getting in here. They have to wade through the barbed wire to get to the door, having traveled 5 hours to explore this site.
Oh, please God, let it be open. We've traveled 5.5 hours.
At last, they arrive at the door and are thankfully able to open it. Wandering through the old church, they encounter several crypts. More open crypts and coffins are found at the end of the hallway, while well water floods the floor. A human skull is in one open coffin and there is human hair still on it.
Oh, no.
Come here.
No. Oh,
Education. So, I want to point out, just shine a light on it for me. There's still hair on its head. Still got teeth. Obviously, oh, that's rotting brain in there.
As he's prodding the skull head, they think they hear something down the hallway.
What?
What's wrong?
Examining the skull more closely, you can see it still has human hair and teeth. As they're talking about how it felt like someone was walking behind them, someone shushes them from what sounds like the corner of the room.
Really?
Yeah, Dr. Compilation.
What's that? The shh. Somebody just shh us.
It seems this team of urban explorers has disturbed the peace. All I know is I would never be going back to that place. This ghost has a lot on his mind. Published in August of 2021 by Gankwa P, this scary short video has got me freaked out. The security footage shows an alley outside a gated home in what I believe is Thailand. Soon a semi-transparent phantom shape appears. It can be seen against the darkness of the gate beyond. It moves past the gate and disappears. Is this ghost taking a nighttime stroll, or do we need to call a medium? Jennifer Garcia and her boyfriend are woken up at 1 in the morning by an alarm from their Ring cam. This weird round object floating around on a clear night is what sets off the alert. Too slow moving to be a bug, not to mention transparent. So what do you think this mysterious unexplained light could be? I'm not sure if it's a real paranormal video, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and entertain the possibility of a ghost orb outside. A Reddit user named Miss Doolittle Tex posted some really creepy things caught on camera for the Chills Narrator subreddit to analyze. A man with shifty eyes and an odd expression walks to her front door and doesn't ring it, just stands there confused. He thinks about doing who knows what next and then decides against it. He leaves her door but not her property, going on to walk around the perimeter and crossing into a neighbor's backyard without permission. He returns a short while later, running away and full of energy. Only he knows what he did for sure or how bad it was. Miss Doolittle Tex calls the police to make a report, and based on this video evidence, I think she was absolutely in the right to do so. There's no reason for him to be creeping around like that, and it's good to get everything documented early, in case things get even weirder in the future. Besides, I would want my neighbor to look out for me in the same way as I do for them. Dr. Lost Syndrome published this video in May of 2014 writing, a little short video where Maskey gets some payback for the taggers ruining his hideout. The video follows a pair of teenagers in what looks to be an abandoned building in the wilderness. The building is full of graffiti, and one of the lads starts spraying some more over top of it. That's when they hear this strange noise. The first time they hear it, they brush it off. The second time, they start to wonder what's up. The camera is passed off to the dude, while the girl continues spraying in the room. The man heads outside, looking around the area and shouting hello.
Hello?
When there's no response, the two pass off the camera again, and then again. as the girl goes to check if there's anyone out there, while the man continues spray painting. After painting a bit, the man scans the graffiti in the room. That's when he arrives at the door to find Masky outlined in the doorway. The masked man charges him and knocks him to the ground. It appears the man is knocked out cold. What is unclear is what Masky did with his body. Masky's revenge is certainly not something you would want to think about as you fall asleep at night, and trust me on that one. After setting up a still camera and a spirit box in this haunted apartment's kitchen, Other Side Research captured something unsettling. Watch the left side of the screen. Was that a shadow figure? Let's see it again.
Here you can clearly see something captured in the top left of the screen. It appears just after the spirit box seems to say the word demon. After going over this piece of footage multiple times, none of us can decide what this may have been.
It doesn't look like the usual suspect, an insect, but could it be someone off screen, casting this shadow? Without seeing what's going on behind the scenes, I'm hesitant to decide on this one. Published by Diane Frazier. This paranormal team spent some time with the Shadow Man. In their communication with him, he revealed he lost his wife and blamed himself for her passing, saying he felt like he had a hole in his heart.
How are you feeling about us coming here to talk to you? Does that make you happy?
Black.
The team captured 2 photographs which they have interpreted. This one is the Shadow Man, revealing the hole in his heart from losing his wife. The second, they believe, shows the couple reunited and entering into the beyond together. Are these interpretations correct? Did the Shadow Man and his beloved wife reunite? This is the story I want to believe, and to me, the photographs do look quite convincing. What do you think? Luxi is investigating a purportedly haunted cemetery. As they approach the area, they find a lifeless animal near a tree.
Todo lo que hay gualichos. Acá pueden ver, pueden corroborar que hay un animal, miren, un animal muerto también, de los gualichos que se hacen acá en esta zona. ¿Lo puedes levantar, por favor? Sí. Ve, este animal.
He captures some of the tombs on video.
Puede ver uno de los, allá atrás se puede apreciar, no sé si alcanza la toma de mi celular, porque mi celular es un celular muy bajo en resolución, pero bueno, vamos a caminar a ver si podemos ver algo.
And then he and his entire extended family continue walking until they see what they came for.
Mirá, 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 mirá. No, esto de no creer, esto de no creer, vamos. Corran. La verdad que no me lo podía esperar.
Did you see that figure? The figure in white appears very small and moves slowly through the tall grass. After putting some distance between them and the mysterious creature, the cameraman turns around to capture one last glimpse.
Ahí se ve. La verdad que se mueve, está en movimiento. La verdad que Jesús de Nazaret. No, vamos, corran. Agárrale.
Is it a witch? A ghost? The YouTuber believes it's an elf. I'm wondering if he might be on the right track, but in that case, why not stick around to see if it's good or evil? A pet snapping turtle doesn't take kindly to its owners and already has its mouth open. The warning sign goes unheeded, but thankfully one of his friends inadvertently saves him by getting his attentions moments before this happens.
He said, "What's up?"
This was almost a solid chunk of flesh taken out of his face, and a trip for medical attention for certain. It's 3 a.m. when a YouTuber named Spencer Smith goes exploring an abandoned mental asylum that looks haunted as can be. Most of the entrances have been sealed off and it seems like their paranormal investigation is over before it even has a chance to go wrong. But that's when they hear scary noises in the darkness.
That was not a dog. That is not a dog, listen.
That's not a dog.
Well, we're savages, let's go. Mate. Oh no, bro, oh my god.
I don't have the slightest clue what that animal could be, but I don't think it was a dog, so maybe it is supernatural. Anyway, they eventually find a doorway that's in complete shambles. Before they get a chance to step through, the camera goes out of focus for a few scary moments before they hear what I agree sounds like a footstep going up the nearby stairs. Stairs which clearly nobody is standing on.
Was that a footstep then? Was that an actual footstep?
They step through the doorway and are too busy investigating from room to room to realize they've already caught a ghost face in the window. At 12 minutes and 37 seconds, it's a scary face looking down and to the right. More of a demon sighting caught on tape than a ghost face in the window. They only see one apparition during this moment, but I actually see two. The other is a man peering in through the bottom left corner of the window. You can see his facial features most clearly during this moment, in which you can make out a sharp nose, thin lips, and no visible eyes. They record the rest of the asylum without much incident, and soon find themselves standing at a different entrance than the one they came through. They look down and notice they've almost fallen into a hole that leads into a drainage system, and as they laugh, something scary happens in return.
We'll go through that instead. I wasn't even...
It's hard to hear at first, but it seems they've actually caught another unexplained footstep on camera shortly before they ran away, this time coming from within the drain. This video, titled "The Cave of Screaming Terror," sounds a bit dramatic until you get about midway through. Donnell Buckley is exploring the sea cave along the coast of Ireland by himself when suddenly the water becomes higher and Donnell hears this strange sound behind him. A series of shrill, high-pitched screams coming from somewhere deep within the cave makes Donald decide to leave the vicinity. He never gives proper explanation, and I think it definitely creeped him out. If you can identify what kind of creature this is, then please do so. It almost sounds like some kind of exotic bird, but it also somewhat resembles some of the more convincing rake videos that I've seen before. An instructor records himself and his students for a teacher evaluation. He's giving a lecture about safety when some strange activities start to happen.
Out and about. What dangers might we bump into? Stephen, don't do that, please. It's distracting. That's one thing. Someone give me another one then.
Strangers?
Strangers.
Oh.
Right. What we're going to do, we need to... I tell you what, guys. Let's just go out for a minute.
By now, the class is in mild shock as they awkwardly line up and leave. According to the description of this video, later on they would say that they felt a strange static electricity in the air and a tingling sensation in their faces. After they leave, the possible haunting seems to continue for quite some time. Finally, the camera is knocked to the ground by an unseen force and the video ends. This bizarre video caught my attention on the Chills Narrator subreddit. West for President is taking a trip in Bergen, Norway, filming some birds at the harbor, when something really creepy caught him by surprise.
Ah, yeah, bird. What the f? No. Oh, okay. What the f? Is that a face? Oh, what the f?
When he zooms in on this odd rat-like face, It is sticking out from the tunnel. I don't know if this tunnel is haunted or has an oversized creature problem or what, but it's enough to make West for President hold a scream in as he runs away. I would say that it's part of the structure, but there's no identical part on the other side of the wall. I don't know what it is, but if he thinks it's far from normal, then that's good enough for me. Ghost Hunter Emax has some of the creepiest videos in the small but growing Japanese ghost hunter community. Videos with scary moments like this one that will haunt you for a long time. He's exploring an abandoned hospital when he senses something paranormal is near, a ghost in the same hallway.
なんかいる感じするもんね。こんなね、したりしたんだけど。さあ行ってみたい。あ、これが今こっちに動いたんだよな。
It's just there 1 second at 10 minutes 16 seconds, and within 2 seconds it's being pushed back 3 feet into the closet. Did he really see a wheelchair move by itself while exploring a haunted hospital? Or did someone pull it from off camera? The video looks convincing, but I guess we'll never know. D-Master Flex is camping overnight in a haunted cemetery. They get bored and let their guard down long enough to play a game.
What the? What the?
Yo, hold on.
The tower of Jenga blocks collapses seemingly all by itself. The tower was clearly built on a level surface, and there appears to be no strong winds to blow it over. I guess it could have just been a string, but if not, then this incident is almost certainly paranormal. Fausto Perez believes he has forged a spiritual connection with an extraterrestrial. He sets up a camera to demonstrate his capabilities and waits for a response.
In the sky, come to me, give me a sign, help me advance to a higher level of consciousness, let me see you.
Less than 10 minutes later, he and his team spot a foreign white square twisting in the wind. This is what he affectionately refers to as a flying carpet, as it's apparently just one of the many regular visitors he receives from the sky. Whatever this square-shaped object is, it has to be absolutely huge to be visible from this far away. Only one of the cameras manages to catch it. Overall, no one can say for sure if this is a real encounter or a mere coincidence. If Fausto is wrong about this extraterrestrial sighting, then I have no idea what it could actually be. A man is keeping an eye on his 2 daughters when he notices a 3rd child watching them from the doorway. The man quickly goes to check on his kids and finds them happily watching TV as if nothing's wrong. There's absolutely no one standing in the doorway watching them from behind the kids' gate. Satisfied that everyone is safe, the father returns to the other room and checks the baby monitor again. Sure enough, the figure is standing in the exact same spot as if it never left, and this time you can clearly see one of the children looking straight at it. Apparently, this house was built in the 1940s, and the family sees this kind of thing quite often, which would explain why the father remains relatively calm instead of running out of the door. This home surveillance footage has been circulating around the internet, but I'm trying to figure out if it's fake, or did this woman have her home surveillance hacked? After all, there have been many cases of that happening over the last couple years. If that's the case, it's super scary to think this woman is being watched by an unknown person without her knowledge, and without any context. You would never know that scenario is a real possibility. What do you think? Is this real or fake? This video comes from a creepy YouTube channel ominously called I Know Where She Is, whatever that's supposed to mean. Anyway, whoever's filming seems to be at some old abandoned house that's covered in years worth of trash. A loud generator blocks out all sound. They turn around as if startled and shine their flashlight on the doorway, but they don't see anything. Neither did I the first time. Look again though, and you'll see the fleeing shadow of someone retreating from the doorway. Overall, it's hard to tell if this was a phantom figure, or just the angle of the flashlight playing tricks across the wall. A creepy dark road in India looks like the perfect place for a paranormal dashcam video, but not everything has to be a ghost encounter.
बच्चा भी आ गया वो बड़ा भी आ गया
बड़ा भी आ गया ये छोटा वाला बच्चा
इसके पीछे कूदेगा
I would gladly welcome an old-fashioned ghost sighting compared to what they've just caught on camera. Anyway, this still image taken at 29 seconds says it all. The jungle cat is fully outstretched and trying to make a meal of them. This looks like a well-practiced move that might have worked in the past. Oh yeah, and the person recording should have definitely alerted the moped instead of letting them blindly pass into harm's way. A paranormal YouTube channel called Northwest Ghost Adventures claims his haunted attic has the most ghost activity out of anywhere in the UK. Here are two of the best examples of paranormal evidence. On February of 2018, the Northwest Ghost Adventures channel made a breakthrough EVP session with a possessed doll named Lily. 3 times in a row, the same male voice speaks through the spirit box.
Hi, spirits. Yeah, I'm okay. Can you tell me the name of this doll? My name's Lily.
I think it even starts talking backwards here, which is something I've never heard a spirit box even do before, and also possibly evidence of a demonic ghost EVP caught on camera. The ghost hunter administers some more paranormal experiments, and Lily the possessed doll passes them all.
Can you show us an orb, please? Thank you. Can you show me your orbs?
A month later, he claims to have been possessed while investigating. He spends the night in his haunted attic, and his eyes open when the spirit box says awake. He looks around in a trance-like state for some time. Notice how the ghost meter stays maxed out for over a full minute, beginning at 1 minute and 7 seconds, and continuing until the moment his head hits the pillow at 2 minutes and 26 seconds, at which point the lights go out entirely, as if the demon has left. Was I possessed, he later asks, and I think most of us will agree that yes, he was. This is definitely one of the scariest videos ever posted on my Chills Narrator subreddit by far. It was found on a random Discord and probably was floating around some nefarious parts of the web long before getting sent my way. A teenager whose identity remains unknown hears a strange noise outside of his room and decides to investigate. He doesn't make it very far before he finds his investigation has gone wrong in a terrifying way. His final scary moments are caught on camera and it looks pretty grim.
See, I'm gonna go out there and look.
A slight smirk shows he never expected an unknown creature to descend upon him from within the darkened doorway. He doesn't have a chance to properly scream before the mysterious animal-like figure is on him, in a single scary moment that probably ended badly. The creature's snout and a dog-like face are visible moments before it strikes at 5 seconds, along with 2 beady white eyes. So maybe this is a dogman sighting caught on tape, and something that's beyond creepy. These weird white streaks of light look to be the dogman's claws, and they're coming straight down towards this kid's head. Freaky, right? Captured at nearly 2 a.m., this security footage left behind a phantom trace. Published by Highlight Seed in March of 2022, the mysterious video shows a couple of figures crossing along the dirt road outside of a compound. The first figure is solid. You can tell it's a human person making their way in the night. The second figure, however, although this one too is carrying a flashlight, the figure never appears solid in form, and halfway down the path, he seems to evaporate upward into the air. Both he and his flashlight beam disappear. Does the contrast between the two figures prove that one is not what it seems, or are our eyes deceiving us? While spending the night in an abandoned boarding house, the unthinkable happened. Published by Toppy in May of 2022, this paranormal crew captured whispers on camera, asking for help. These whispers are quite faint, but they think it sounds like a woman's voice. Shortly after, they hear footsteps at a distance. In a hallway of the boarding house, the team sets up a stationary camera. Apart from several EVPs, it captures this. A rock is kicked with great force down the length of the hall. Do former pupils still call this boarding house home? And what do they want with the living? Ryan Keelan and his friend Nick are checking out the Boca Raton Cemetery in search of two ghosts. One is named Mary, and the other is only known as the Screaming Man. These two spirits are supposed to reside in the far western part of the graveyard, where terrifying shrieks can sometimes be heard according to local reports. Ryan and his friend hope to spend a full night in the cemetery. They get to the western part around sundown and start to experience signs of the paranormal almost instantly.
This light's flickering. Look, see? No.
Soon it becomes apparent that the lights are clearly turning off in front of them wherever they go, one light at a time.
Oh, I wish.
They are sure that Mary is trying to lead them somewhere, so they reluctantly follow, using the lights as their guide. The lights continue to go out one by one until they stop at a place where they can feel her presence. Look at this part and let me know if you can see the dark silhouette of Mary's ghost on the wall. A short while later, they both see something off camera and bolt. I think there's a good chance that their terror is real because, as you can see here, Nick is so scared that he doesn't even notice his phone fall out of his pocket. Ryan returns later with a second friend, Jesse, and they find themselves once again getting led by the lights.
See, this is the light that was flickering last time? Yep, there it is again. Oh boy.
This time, Ryan decides that this is too unnerving and opts not to follow. Who knows? Mary and the Screaming Man could have been waiting for them right around the corner. Residents in Tallahassee, Florida, feared for their lives when this strange and haunting sound echoed throughout their area for over 20 minutes.
It's not back that way, it's up in this corner. Don't go out there.
There's little doubt that this video is real, as you can hear the fear in the family's voices.
Get the kids in the bathroom.
I hear the wind.
Get the kids in the bathroom.
Get in the bathroom. Kids.
I thought it was a tornado, but the person in the video doesn't. They called 911 and learned that police were apparently flooded with concerned complaints about the noise. The person who recorded this footage says that the local news was told to report this as an airplane. This doesn't really sound like an airplane to me. There's one other strange occurrence, a sudden flash of lightning that instantly makes the noise disappear.
If it is to get into the safe. Uh-oh, what was that? I don't hear it anymore, Tim.
I've never been in a tornado before, so I can't say if this video looks normal or not. I'm especially looking for opinions from people who have been in one. Do you agree with the uploader that this could have been something more than a tornado, like a government weather experiment? People go disappearing all of the time, but rarely are such strange events like this one caught on camera. A man in a library is calmly reading when he looks up and spontaneously vanishes. This looks like it has to be special effects, except this unexplained video also has an equally unexplained background. Multiple comments agree that there was once a longer version of this video from years ago that was mysteriously taken offline. In this longer version, this man's face is supposedly uncensored. Whoever this is could have contacted the police over privacy concerns. If so, as fake as this video looks, a longer version without blurred faces could mean this video is real. May 17th, 2006 at 8:12 p.m. The Monterey Witch of Mexico was caught on video flying just above the Mexican hills. She glides above the ground, just as you would imagine a witch to fly through the air, floating through the sky serenely. There's a good several yards between her and the hills below, with plenty of blue between. After the clear view of her dark shape against the skyline, her profile is shown as a white speck against the green hills as she skates across a canyon. The video goes on for a good 2 minutes, and it doesn't appear to be a hoax as the being traverses the cliffs. The figure is tall and cylindrical, flying across a very windy canyon, which makes some UFO researchers believe that it can't be normal, it must be paranormal. Diana Perla Chapa, a UFO group leader and researcher from Monterey and a popular Mexican TV host and UFO investigator, confirms this. Experts say that there is no way something could move so steadily because it's a very windy canyon, she said, speaking at the Mutual UFO Network of Los Angeles conference. In a small town in Texas, a church fitness class had begun one April morning in 2016. The attendees walked in only to find that someone had taken the instructor's life. 45-year-old Terry Bevers was found on the floor. There were no leads except for this security footage. You may think the person in this footage is someone here to help, but it's actually worn by whoever committed this terrible act. The culprit wore a full SWAT uniform, going room to room in the church, possibly looking for more victims. To this day, this person's identity remains a mystery. A kid is checking out his loose tooth in the mirror when his reflection appears to move away before he does. It happens in a split second, so you have to look closely to see it. Maybe it's just the angle, but the reflection really does appear to lean away while the child himself remains stationary. Everything from an optical illusion to a haunted mirror has been proposed with no concrete answer. So if you know the proper explanation, then be sure to let me know. Two friends are walking down the street completely unaware of a scary paranormal encounter waiting to unfold at random.
Right here, look at it. Look at it. Look at it. It's following them. Look at it. Look at it.
A strange black mist slowly descends out of nowhere. I do find the timing to be an eerie coincidence and agree this could be paranormal. With that said, the friend on the right seems to sense an apparition more than he sees it. He doesn't necessarily look terrified, but he does bring his hand up to his chin as if he is uncertain of something nearby. The other friend does not appear to see anything at all. If this was a ghost, then maybe the camera was recording something that neither one of them could fully perceive. Then again, this looks like it could be an out-of-focus insect walking along the camera lens. Let me know which possibility you think is the real answer. Jelly Spotters is making a YouTube video with a homemade Ouija board. They barely get out a few questions before one of the candles starts to do something really weird.
W-R-T. What? You see that candle? Okay.
Jelly Spotters is not standing near any fans and all of the windows are closed. Plus, if it was the wind, then the other candles should go out as well. After a while, it becomes apparent that the spirit is using the candle to answer them instead of the board.
Do you want us to say goodbye? Do you want us to leave? Can we please say goodbye? Yes? Alright, let's go.
Aquatic researchers are stunned to see this massive shark pass by their cameras at a depth of 3,300 feet below sea level.
Here he comes again. Here he comes. Got it. Man.
Can you get him on?
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, look how thick he is.
He's huge.
As the giant shark circumnavigates their equipment, the researchers try to estimate its measurements based on the space between the two laser dots. While this size falls short of an adult megalodon, some people have pointed out that this could be a juvenile. Since all scientists have to go off of is their teeth and backbone fossils, we may never know for sure. This double doll haunting recently occurred somewhere in South America. Two girls are happily talking to the camera while clutching their Barbie dolls. They are admiring their toys when suddenly their toys admire them back. Both dolls twist their head all the way around to look at the girls, who scream and throw their possessed toys to the floor. You can clearly see that the girls are not holding the dolls anywhere near their heads when they start to move, so maybe it is real after all. If anyone can translate what these girls were saying, then perhaps it will help us figure out if this video is fake or legitimate after all. This home footage was taken at the end of 2016 in rural Pennsylvania. A man grows tired of the strange noises coming from his basement and decides to investigate with a camera. According to him, it always sounds like something is running up the steps at full speed, but nothing ever comes through the door when it reaches the top. The man is confident that he will be able to scare off whatever it is that's lurking below. He opens the door and goes down the steps without a weapon.
Alright, here we go. Hello? I know I hear you down here. I know I heard you. Holy oh my dude! I just saw it. Holy man.
Instead of running away, he chases after the shadowy figure. The camera pans around the basement only to reveal that he is now alone. I guess it wouldn't be too hard to have someone dressed in all black and peek around a corner, so this video could be fake. Then again, this video could be genuine evidence of an actual shadow person. As for the original uploader, he says that he and his family no longer feel safe in their home. They're now looking to move someplace else. A police officer is patrolling a long stretch of country road when something suddenly almost causes him to swerve into a ditch. It's hard to see what happened, but when you slow the video down and play it frame by frame, you can see a transparent figure step directly into the police officer's path. Look closely and you can just make out the slender outline of a head and a body. It almost looks like the small frame of a woman. The figure passes through the car without damage, and the police officer makes a 3-point turn to go back and investigate. As he crawls forward, he sees nothing. The road is empty and the night scenery is silent. A YouTuber named Underwater Ireland explores a cemetery on a dreary day. Crows cackle loudly overhead like a warning not to go any further as she treads sacred ground.
They look like heads of type of crosses.
Underwater Island looks down and notices that all of the markers have a wide gap. I have never seen any cemetery with this problem before, have you? If I didn't know better, it almost looks like the buried have been trying to claw their way out. She sets up some cameras and records overnight, and this is what she finds the next day.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There! Did you see that flash?
And this is the same shot from a different angle. Also, notice how the gate opens here. Okay, so this frowning man wearing a helmet is what the image looks like when the video is stopped. Is this special effects, or did a spirit really come face to face with the camera moments after opening the entrance? A man finds himself trapped on the 30th floor of the Shinjuku Center building in Tokyo after the entire city was rocked by a 9.1 quake. Now nowhere is safe and there is nothing left to do except to record as doors and cabinets swing open uncontrollably and the entire building shakes.
Oh!
Everything grows eerily silent, and then this voice cuts through the speakers. There is a lot of frantic chatter in the background, so I think it was a live broadcast, not a recording. Try and translate if you can, because if you were there, your life may have very well have depended on following these instructions. この建物は地震に対して安全な設計になっております。After a while, the speakers turn off, and the guest hopelessly watches as the buildings sway like trees. It's kind of hard to see what I'm talking about because the building he's in is shaking too. This second video, taken near the top floor of the Shinjuku Center building, shows how bad the shaking really was. The buildings look like they are going to topple at any moment, but they are actually designed to be incredibly flexible and can withstand intense vibrations. Keep in mind that these are just the smaller aftershocks and not the actual quake itself, which was, believe it or not, much worse. A mother records her child happily pressing Play-Doh into different shapes, completely unaware that the toy moves twice on its own. The first time is almost unnoticeable, so watch closely.
What are you doing?
Play-Doh.
The second time, however, is much more obvious. I mean, look again and you'll see both of the kids' hands are completely off of the toy when it suddenly somehow moves towards him. This video is one of the few instances where I have absolutely no counterpoint to disprove it, and I can only conclude that what you've witnessed is almost certainly paranormal. Amateur footage was shot somewhere in an underground sewage system. The cameraman is presumably a maintenance worker who is wearing a chest cam. Little did he expect to find a humanoid down there with him. The video begins with the cameraman seemingly frozen in place. The camera is very still, as if the maintenance worker is too afraid to move. Maybe he heard a noise and is waiting for a creature to reveal itself. Suddenly, a pair of floating eyes peer at him from the distance. The eyes appear to belong to some sort of nocturnal predator. They reflect so much light that all you can see are two gigantic white dots that are roughly as wide around as flashlights. The humanoid does not appear to have much experience with humans and seems apprehensive as it peers around the corner. It decides to run away and the cheap camera cuts out before we can see any more of the chase. The creature seems incredibly fast and probably got away, but exactly what happened next is anyone's guess. The video footage survived, so the cameraman probably did as well. Then again, maybe they recovered it from his dead body instead. There's just not enough information out there to say for sure. These underground tunnels in Manchester, England were once used to escape air raids in the 1940s. Countless people huddled for their lives down here en masse, and their collective theory is thought to have left a haunting impression ever since. Now a YouTube channel called Dark Arts TV investigates these tunnels to see what he can discover with his own eyes. It isn't long before his blue light shines upon a rail-thin figure standing at a bizarre angle. They are a good distance away, but it looks like they might be wearing baggy trousers and a vest with oversized sleeves, reminiscent of the 40s era. If this is not a ghost to you, then what do you think this is? As he turns the corner, his camera picks up what appears to be a pair of human legs hanging out a small hole in the wall. What's most terrifying is how Dark Arts TV doesn't seem to notice the legs at the time, as if they weren't visible in real life. And to further back this theory, when you pause at 24 minutes and 28 seconds, the beam of his flashlight seems to move through them. Finally, as they prepare to leave, they encounter this shadowy face directly behind them. It doesn't look like a person per se, but rather the fading memory of someone who was present, now doomed to repeat a terrifying moment forever.
Eyebrows, a hairline, the chin, you can even see at the bottom here, if you can just catch the end of my thumb, where I'm covering now, there you can see the line of his neck as his head is bent round the corner.
A real demon sighting is caught on camera according to an uploader named Esoteric Boy, a dark shadow haunting his room. He lightens the photo to reveal a tall mysterious figure with horns. Strangest of all, the alleged demon has a goat-like face and no reflection in the mirror. Considering he has editing software, I think this could possibly be photoshopped. But if not, then it's time never to go into the room again. Adam McIntyre travels from Ireland to London to investigate the Woodrow High House, a house said to be haunted by the grieving ghost of a widow named Lady Helena Stanhope. who has been endlessly roaming these hallways since the 1600s. Adam and his ghost hunting pals think they encounter the spirit lady haunting this hallway, and I think they could be right.
And immediately the door starts like opening and closing.
Yeah. No, I'm actually scared.
Wait. There's literally no draft here. Wait. I don't like it. Don't scream. Oh my god.
Adam is freaking out because a ghost is slamming doors in the same hallway where he will be spending the night. He mentions Helena nicely by name, treating her like a person rather than a sideshow attraction.
This is my bedroom corridor, so I don't want her, like, Helena.
And Helena the ghost responds by closing the door gently instead of slamming it shut like before. The three of them are really scared, so they don't go right away, but they do briefly explore the room from the door, and I don't see anyone standing there. As they stand breathlessly outside, it becomes more than apparent that an apparition does not want to let them in. Finally, the nervous trio works up the courage to enter the haunted room and conduct a little paranormal experiment of their own for more evidence. They lock the door to prove that it really is slamming the door and not a draft. After a while,
Like, proper lock it. Oh, is it the wind, Caitlin? Is it the wind?
unfortunately, Adam's head is blocking the lock when it happens, so we never get to see how the ghost manages to open the door, or if it was one of them all along. My Dark Journal is a collection of abstract videos that many people are certain contain hidden messages and deeper meanings, perhaps even clues about a woman who lost her life. The latest video, simply called Wither, starts off with a snowy lamppost and ends with a strange woman walking down the stairs. In the description is a link to a video on a completely different YouTube channel. This video, called Whisper, has images of evil looking building schematics and what appears to be some type of old language. I don't expect anyone to really be able to translate the words on that last page, but I'm hoping that someone can. Anyway, in the description box of the Whisper video is a link to yet another video on a YouTube channel called The Oracle of Lies. This third and final video is called Wayne. It shows an old desolate road and more weird imagery, including the same mysterious woman from the first video, Wither. I'm not sure if there are any hidden messages in any of these videos, but there certainly could be. No fourth video is linked, and the odd trifecta ends there. This could be a simple art montage, or it could be the real thing, maybe even something from the depths of the dark web. If you are able to make sense of any of these videos, even just a single part, then please let me know what it all means. When somebody finds a spider in their home, some people would swat it on the spot with the nearest object, while others would try to find some way to let it go outside. Then there are a small percentage who would grab a camera and let the spider crawl all over them, like Feo3 here.
Oh yeah. I got a spider crawling on me.
He never intended for the arachnid to take a detour across his throat and then stamp its way across his face. He manages to stay calm and only has one thing to ask.
And it's crawling on my face, isn't it?
Why, yes it is. Right towards your ear hole, unfortunately. Thinking fast, he tries to divert the spider away from his ear, but ends up encouraging it to almost burrow straight inside. He is so lucky that the spider decides not to do that, because that would have been a horrible trip to the hospital for sure. Not that having a spider in your hair is any consolation prize, but you get what I mean. A YouTuber named Hello Ryan Holmes lives in a house that you and I want no part of. Scary noises have become part of a daily ritual stemming from paranormal activity, or so he suspects. So when it happens again, Ryan grabs a camera to see if he can catch a ghost on video.
Did you just hear that? I definitely just heard somebody run up the stairs.
Ryan thinks he hears creeping noises of a ghost running up the stairs. Ghost or not, he is definitely not alone. Camera in hand, Ryan gets no further than the kitchen before he realizes...
What the f...
All of the cabinets have mysteriously opened on their own, and when he goes to close them...
Why the f is everything open? What the f... What the f...
He turns around only to find that the ghost has moved every object in his kitchen back to where it was. It looks normal at first, but I think there is an editing cut here at 2 minutes when he briefly zooms into the cabinet for no reason at all. He could have stopped recording, moved all of the objects, and then started recording again to make it seem like it was all done in one take. An ownerless shadow is in this alley. Moments later, a motorbike moves all by itself for almost 10 seconds before dropping hard. This incident is being mislabeled as a paranormal video as far as I'm concerned. Here's why. A strong wind blows through this drafty alley, so maybe a gust of wind popped up the kickstand and sent the bike in motion. Likewise, the shadow could be a result of this thing flapping overhead. Overall, I'm 50-50 on the legitimacy of this creepy moment, so help me decide if this bizarre street cam video is really paranormal. A YouTuber named Matthew Van Hughes is enjoying nature when he hears a loud voice of someone who apparently isn't. Listen to this part and tell me if you can literally hear the word help being said, because I think I can. The sound quiets down and then switches over to something far less human. Skeptics think that this is some kind of wild animal, but I think I can hear English being spoken here, but I can't tell what. Maybe the words "don't take me." Let me know what you hear. When he gets to the bottom off the cliff, nothing is there. Matthew waits for an hour and doesn't hear anything else, so he leaves whatever it was to take their final breaths. Seeing is believing, published by Cryptic Media in October of 2007, a man is sharing his experience with the paranormal when the paranormal occurs in plain sight right behind him. The man is explaining to his friend about a time when he felt like he was ambushed in bed. He describes feeling something unseen holding him by the neck while the bottom half of his body was rising.
In bed?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, what happened?
No, I was just like laying in bed, you know what I'm saying, and dozed off, and when I dozed off, something like grabbed a hold of my neck right here.
But as he explains, watch the dark doorway behind him. A ghostly pale figure moves past in a flash. Although you can't make out what the figure is, it appears to be glowing. Some in the comments think it could have been someone else who lives there passing by the door, but commenter Jennifer Mills Young disagrees. She writes, "Interesting because the spirit appears to have a light source shining on it or is giving off its own in the dark hallway. It is only highlighted in part. Is this the ghost the man is talking about? Or are these guys contending with numerous phantoms?" A YouTuber named Simo Vlogs explores an abandoned building, which he and his friends stumble across a room on the top tile floor with upside down humans. They are taped many times over, and there looks to be no breathing holes. This room looks like some kind of art storage room, so maybe these are just projects. I'm not sure why they would be wrapped and hanged up like this, so if you're an artist and know what's going on here, be sure to let me know. I'm pretty sure that this video isn't real, because this room would probably stink way too bad to go near, and plus the smile doesn't exactly look like the face of someone who just came across a psycho's secret stash, but that's just my opinion. Casey of a YouTube channel called Surviving Louisiana took up ghost hunting as a hobby some time ago, though lately, ever since he was contacted by a spirit named Seth, his hobby has become a way of life, and not necessarily in a good way. He wakes up to a feeling of paranormal discomfort, so he pulls out 2 pieces of ghost hunting equipment, a program that lets him communicate with spirits, and an EMF meter to measure electricity in the air. He tells Seth to stand in front of the EMF meter, and sure enough, the ghost seems to respond.
You guys make this light up a lot? Oh, good job. Good job. There's a lot of you here, huh?
The EMF meter holds a steady beep like a heartbeat, and the spirit box lets out a sigh. Seth is not afraid to tell Casey how it feels.
Very upset about it. Anger.
I think whatever program Casey's using is real, because he says out loud that Seth is upset, and then it detects Seth saying the word anger in response, or more like growling it. It kind of sounds like he says anger too when you slow down the growl.
Anger.
They try to joke around with Seth, but the spirit is having none of it. Their mirth makes the green bars spike to orange, and their EMF beeps faster than ever. Go away, it writes. Casey thinks it's telling them to put away their spirit equipment, but I'm pretty sure it's ordering them out of their own home. That was on May 20th of 2020. 11 days later, Seth barges into their bedroom late at night for another session of angry EVPs. It says 3 scary words, and notice how the EMF meter beeps excitedly when Casey repeats them.
Anyway, it says can't hear you, and we're trying to figure out if it's threatening us or if it's explaining to us what's happening. We don't deal with threatening ghosts.
Keep in mind, this beeping is coming from a different piece of equipment, the EMF meter, which is on the opposite of the bed. It always seems to beep rapidly before the spirit box speaks.
Are you bad? Or are you good?
I definitely just heard a woman's voice say my baby more clearly than anything else so far. I would probably be out the door or even out the window by now, but I guess after weeks of paranormal activity, Casey and his wife are used to Seth, and so they carry on, and that's when things get morbid fast. They show sympathy to the woman with a missing baby, and that's when Seth comes back through the box to unleash some more messed up phrases.
Well, I'm sorry you're not with them. I'm guessing. Shovel. Getting any money out of this because I'm not. Dispose. Ooh, growling.
My baby, shovel, dispose, growling. Just saying these words out loud creates enough of a picture for me. But then Seth really drives his psychopathic points home with another final phrase.
I've never seen it go that high. Hurts. Do you hurt?
I think he does. Not himself though. Instead, those around him. When a scary video isn't self-explanatory, it's time to break out some armchair detective work. But even if you're Sherlock or Enola Holmes, you'll have a tough time connecting the dots of this video. Published to YouTube in March of 2012, Ghosts Are Real 66 writes, been taking video of local cemeteries for a while and examining them from frame to frame. Found the image of what looks like a ghost of a young boy from around the early 1900s by the way he is dressed. The video was taken at Kinder Cemetery, established in 1902. While scanning some tombstones at a distance, a distinct flash is caught on camera. While zooming in, you can make out a figure, although you can't really distinguish its dress. YouTuber Manly says that he's wearing suspenders and a white shirt, but that's up for interpretation. Some think it's a reflection in a car window, others are sure it's the paranormal, and I'm leaning towards the latter. Is that a ghost in the window? Posted to TikTok by Trina M. Ward in the video. Trina says she's at the Martin house and that nobody lives here. It's supposedly haunted. According to Trina, a man went crazy in the home and took the lives of his whole family. Some say they've seen the children's ghosts in the home. Trina was driving by randomly when she saw this in the window. The figure on the second floor looks like a child. Some notice a larger figure standing behind the child. Several in the comments warn that the child ghost is not what it may seem. Shay Zombie writes, "Children's spirits don't stay on this plane. It's a demon trying to draw someone in. Don't be drawn, or you might become the next person this house draws in." A YouTuber named Shahara Negron and her family have been experiencing some strange activity ever since they moved into a new place. Lately, her daughter has been complaining that her toys have been moving all by themselves, and one doll in particular seems to be at the center of it all.
This doll actually looks like, and it's kind of old. Wow, nothing really precious or special about it, but it just has this feeling about it.
She sits and watches the doll as orbs dance all around. It isn't long before something starts to happen.
This is some freaky. Oh, I'm about to run. What the? Whoa, what the fuck?
I was thinking that somebody hidden behind the chair was moving it, but then the recliner footrest comes out by itself at the end. As far as I know, somebody would have had to grab the lever on the side or pressed a button, but I don't see anyone. Tell me if you think this family is legitimately being haunted. This video is believed to have happened sometime in 2001. A person is walking around what looks like to be an old basement when they think they notice something on the floor.
What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there.
Oh! The footage is too grainy to see, but I think he may have been looking at a shoe, or even the top of someone's head coming out from just behind the door. Suddenly, he looks up and sees some sort of white apparition glaring back at him with lifeless glowing eyes. I guess that it could just be someone who is dressed up, but there's something about his reaction that seems genuine. Two friends are playing around with a camera in an old basement. I won't even tell you what to look for. Just watch and see if you can find anything out of the ordinary.
Falls down as I go. Okay. Now we're gonna do some weightlifting.
Here it is again if you missed it. Let me know if you saw this supposed shadow person on the first try. I will admit that you have really good eyes if you did. If this video is real and not just someone who is dressed up, then this is definitely one of those videos that makes you wonder what other possibly paranormal events have gone on right in front of you without noticing. A YouTuber named 11 Makeda and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. This video begins with a YouTuber named Hallie trembling in the corner while recording a toy car on the opposite end of the room. It's possessed, she declares in a timid voice. Eventually, she gets the courage to move across the room to record it up close. The car's lights are blinking rapidly and it's making a weird humming noise. Suddenly, it springs to life.
How do you shut it off?
I'm not sure if this is a remote-controlled car or not, but I don't think so because I don't see an antenna. Also, I think I see red buttons on the back for making sound effects, and Hallie wasn't touching any of those buttons. In fact, she was all the way across the room when it turned on by itself, so I really don't know how this could have happened. According to her, everyone else in the house was asleep. Definitely be sure to let me know what you think is happening in this video. YouTuber Moxley's Crazy Adventures posted this haunted graveyard video in November of 2019 writing, "Welcome back to my first haunted graveyard. I went here to see what I could capture, if anything at all. What I did capture was insane. Alright, you reeled us in. Let's just hope you deliver." And Moxley does deliver. He captures a dark shadow-like figure gliding across the backdrop of a lit brick wall. He shouts out to it, but it doesn't respond.
What the hell is that? Hello?
He later hears heavy footsteps nearby. They're clearly heard in the leaves around him. In the comments, YouTuber Spooky Spectre notes that this thing wasn't moving like a human being, nor did the brush move as it passed by. It also didn't respond when being called out to, or make noise or footsteps. Do you agree with Spooky Spectre? Did this freak you out? If not, then you're one brave cookie. If you heard an unexplainable spine-tingling sound, would you have the guts to go investigate?
What is that sound?
Published to YouTube by Jared McLean in February of 2019. He explains that he heard this terrifying noise outside at 2 in the morning. He said that the sound started out of nowhere and reminded him of a scary movie soundtrack. The noise seemed to be occurring a few blocks away, so he went to get dressed and drove over there to investigate. But the minute he went to leave, the sound ceased. Jared said he wondered if it was paranormal or some natural phenomenon. He asked for his fellow YouTubers to chime in with their theories. Some suggest it sounds like a badly tuned orchestra. Others say someone must have set off every car alarm at once. Still others believe it could be a train's brakes being applied on a nearby railroad track. And even more claim that they've heard the same sound themselves. Nash TV Guy put in his own 2 cents writing, "There are a ton of reports from all over the world of these strange sounds, with suggestions ranging from underground bases and drilling. What they all have in common is they're scary. At least we can all agree on that much. Any clue as to what this sound could be?" It's always unnerving when a complete stranger shows up on your doorstep, but even more so when it's someone acting like this guy. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex, the Redditor explains that this man showed up on her doorstep and just stood there, not ringing the doorbell. The video shows exactly that. He walks slowly and haphazardly to the door, carrying some plastic bags. Then he just stands there for a moment, appearing to be listening at her door, before turning around and heading back up the sidewalk. He isn't wearing a mask, and as the Redditor says, left as soon as her dogs started barking, but not for long. He is seen on another security camera, walking along some grass behind the houses. He simply strolls along the water and then disappears, but moments later is seen racing back, jumping fences along the way. Apparently someone had also trespassed on her neighbor's property the previous night. It's unclear what he did there, how long he stayed, or what or who he's fleeing from, but the Redditor didn't want to find out what his plans were. She called the authorities. This man doesn't appear to be in his right mind. Whatever this man's situation, most agree calling the authorities was the right thing to do. A statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night if this video is to be believed, which I have trouble doing, aside from looking like possible special effects because of the awkward way the statue moves. The way the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident makes contact is too much of a coincidence. This would be really creepy to see in real life. but that'd be the only way I'd be convinced that this video is actually real. A YouTuber named Skits comes across a man lying motionless in his car with the door wide open. They check his pulse, which is reasonable, but instead of calling the police or an ambulance, they decide to do him a solid and drive him home to the address on his registration. I mean, it's a nice gesture and all, but if this guy was having a serious medical problem and passes away on their watch, then I'm pretty sure they could be held responsible. Anyway, when they finally pull up to his house, they let themselves in using his keys and leave him in a safe spot. Just when they think they've done their good deed for the day, something completely unexpected happens.
Bobby!
Oh, go. We were just trying to help go.
All this poor woman sees is two strangers standing in her home over someone she knows. She probably thought they were in the middle of breaking in. They run out the door, but since they came here in someone else's car, I'm not sure where they were going, but they managed to get away. I feel like this situation could have been avoided by just knocking on the door instead of going straight inside without at least announcing themselves. The whole situation borders on the edge of being implausible. Do you think it really happened? A YouTube channel called Abandoned Explorer heads to an old house that is so eerie, it's best to go by day. I hear a strange noise in this video at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Is this a creepy sigh?
So I'm going to guess this is like some sort of living room area.
They are in the center of the house, so I don't think that it can be the wind. Anyway, they continue exploring until one of them yells for assistance. Perhaps they've made contact with someone on the other side.
Oi! What? Yeah, mate! What's going on, mate? Whoa! Whoa!
But as it turns out, they've only made contact with the other side of the floor and now dangle helplessly.
I just fell through!
They do show the same hole earlier at 6 minutes and 12 seconds though, so this might have been staged. I can tell because this distinctive yellow area is seen in both shots. Whatever is keeping this family awake is worse than a nightmare. Published by Amma Media Channel in April of 2022, a woman is sleeping on a couch when strange things start to happen around her. A tricycle slowly wheels itself backward, then it launches forward, taking a wide turn. It's so loud. What's most surprising is that the woman doesn't wake up. Next, one side of the couch that she's sleeping on is lifted completely off the ground, now lying at a 45-degree angle. The woman only wakes up when the couch slams back down on the floor. It still takes her a moment to rise, even when the couch is lifted a second time. She then climbs off and runs away. The woman returns to the room with a male resident, explaining what happened. They don't arrive at any conclusion as to the cause, but the man lays down on the couch to rest. Not long after, a mysterious head appears close to the security camera. Later, as the man struggles to sleep, a creepy figure appears in the window. The faceless figure is wearing black gloves and seems to be trying to get in. The sleeping man spasms uncontrollably, but it's unclear what is going on. Is the creep in the window casting a spell of some kind? The figure disappears and then the couch starts to lift again, as it did with the woman who was sleeping there. The man falls off the couch, wakes up, and fires off. He returns with a sword, but who will he battle? There's no one there. As he looks outside for his opponent, the faceless figure in the window greets him. What is this thing? As I said, it's worse than a nightmare. A quarrel with a poltergeist has only one outcome: you lose. Published by Scary Desk in September of 2021, the computer shop owner is battling for his life. The man is seen on an upper balcony of his shop at night. It sounds like it's raining. He puts his hood on and heads back toward his shop, but the minute he steps toward the door, he is thrown onto his back, falling onto the ground. You see he appears to have been pushed by a shadowy force. A young man runs to his aid from an adjacent office. As the man points in fear, what did he see? The young man looks inside but finds nothing. He then helps the owner limp to safety. What did this to this poor man? And is it the end of it? Or is it just the beginning? A crumbling cemetery in New Orleans is crawling with restless residents. If this scary sighting is to be believed, at 18 seconds a stone slab lays on the ground as if recently removed. 20 seconds later, this mysterious figure, to use their exact words, is caught on video walking between some tombstones. This could simply be one of their friends, but if not, then seeing a random person while exploring an abandoned cemetery is really bizarre, and also more than a little creepy. They are unable to get the figure on video again, and so they leave. A YouTuber named The Maniac sets out with his cousin to explore the back roads of Maine. Within 5 minutes, a vehicle pulls up, and somebody gets out while pointing at the ground. He doesn't identify himself, and he certainly isn't a police officer, so I think the maniac was in the right to try and get away. I will admit that they were going pretty fast earlier, so maybe that's why this person was so upset. Anyway, approximately 2 minutes later, they see him again, but he is already turning with a car behind him and unable to swing back around. This time the maniac speeds by him for a final look, and sure enough, the man is wearing the same gray shirt and watch as before. The maniac speeds off again before the man has a chance to get out of his car and try and make another attempt to stop him. This video comes from a YouTube channel in Poland called The Slamming Door, which was named after a loud poltergeist who frequents a small home in Europe. The owner of the home eventually sets up cameras in all of the main rooms to capture the highly aggressive spirit in action. Everything looks normal in this bedroom until about 50 seconds into the video, when the poltergeist demands to be acknowledged. It targets a video game collection and sends cases to the floor. This could have been done with a string, but watch again and it does look like an invisible entity swipes everything off the shelf in one smooth motion with their arm. Also, this is a fairly big gaming collection, so if this was fake, you'd think they would knock over something less expensive that they didn't collect or otherwise care about the condition of. This final video is what finally drove them out of the house once and for all. They enter only to find the house has been trashed, and it seems like a spirit is following them around as they explore room to room. They return to the same bedroom in the previous video, and something is in there with them that makes them jump. On the way out, the kitchen light swings wildly, and a chair briefly pulls out on its own. I wish they would have recorded the entire room so we could verify that no one was in there with them, but they were obviously in too much of a hurry to fully document the occurrence. This mother is relaxing on the patio when a loud boom startles her pretty badly. No, I said loud. The boom is so large it rocks the camera and briefly lights up the room despite it being in the middle of the day. I really hope Chris knew what he was doing, because that sounded like it was way too close to the house. A wild dog takes a piece of meat into the corner and devours it in large bites. The dog's ribs jut out, and I'm willing to bet it hasn't seen a meal like this in a long time. It's no doubt willing to do whatever to keep this food, and in a moment you're about to see for yourself. The animal tenses up and then charges the camera. At the 6-second mark, you can see it appears to chomp the fence in an attempt to get to them. Luckily, the cameraman appears to be alright. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, "Even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time." He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright. A hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. Would you invite yourself into a demon's home? Published by Toppy in December of 2021. That's what this ghost hunter did, and he would live to regret it. He quickly realizes he is not alone. After hearing faint footsteps on the floor above, he sets up his camera in the darkness. That's when this happens. Later, he is trying to communicate with the poltergeist, and he receives an answer.
Это ты всех мучил здесь.
Will he heed the spirit's warning? No, he will not, and the demon doesn't like it.
Твою мать.
Would you stay a minute longer inside this haunted place? A minute seems too long to me. An old hospital that was recently turned into an office building is experiencing some pretty strange activity lately, as you will soon see for yourself on this unsettling piece of security footage. Right there it starts. And that door just completely opens by itself. Just watch that one more time. So the door stays completely closed, and then just out of nowhere starts opening. And like the title says, this building is completely empty when this happens. So unless there's potentially a window open, like some sort of draft, I just can't think of any other reason why this would be happening. To provide some context on this video, the owner of the office building has said that he has seen somebody standing in the corner of this room, but he didn't want to say it was anything paranormal because he was a skeptic. However, just to make sure nothing serious was going on, he called the local authorities, and about a week later, after an alarm went off in the building, they came down to the office to come take a look, but they were unable to find anybody or anything. After checking the security camera footage, this is what they saw. So is this a haunted office building, or just something easily explainable, like a bad door that opens on its own or something? Let me know what you think. A large, lonesome mansion seems like the perfect place for a channel called Abandoned World Explorer to do its thing, but they seem to miss the questionable red stain seen here at the 8-minute and 11-second mark as they tentatively test the floor to make sure they don't fall through. Most of the house looks run down, but they come across a creepy entrance that you will have to crouch down to get into. The passageway goes on for 3 full minutes until they find an even more foreboding staircase descending deeper. It looks like the steps could break away or something could reach out from below. The very bottom floor feels extremely off and wrong. He's poking around when something grabs his attention from behind.
Hello?
This odd area of the house personally gives me the feeling that someone was kept here away from the rest of the family, though I don't know why. He understandably leaves before he gets a chance to investigate what was possibly down there with him. A YouTuber named Chris Javier is making a random vlog around his neighborhood late at night when he gets the weird feeling that he's not alone. Moments later, the streetlight he's standing by goes off and on by itself, which he says it has never done before. He thinks it might just be his imagination, so he decides to further test the situation by directly communicating with whatever is controlling the light, which seems to respond more than once. Here's the first time.
What the heck is going on?
And then the streetlight seems to taunt him even as he walks away. Was this a coincidence? Or is there no possible way?
Now it's not even turning off. As soon as I just said something about it, it turns off.
A short while later, Chris sees a disheveled figure walk out from the back alley where he was just standing. They seem totally out of it and speak aggressively to an imaginary person in front of them. At this point, Chris decides to get out of there because it's early in the morning and no one else is around. But to his surprise, the stranger soon follows. The person then abruptly returns to the back alley from where they came and begins to shudder under the same streetlight that was acting weird earlier. They seem drawn to this area and they start swinging their arms wildly in a circle, totally forgetting about Chris as he films the scene for a while longer and then gets away, between the lights seemingly responding to Chris's voice and a man randomly appearing from an empty back alley moments later. There just seems to be too many coincidences in this video to deny the paranormal could have been at work that night. A YouTube channel called Mysterious Oklahoma received this video from a subscriber who claims to have kept seeing something out of the corner of their eye in one spot of their house, so they set up a camera to record. What they capture is a fast-moving creature they refer to only as the Thing, which apparently moves so fast the camera has trouble keeping up. When you pause on it, you can see a very small figure that looks to be slightly lower resolution than the rest of the video, so it might not be real. When you're in the middle of the woods, alone and defenseless, the last thing you want to hear is this. This horrifying sound, according to its uploader, is a cougar mating call, but what it sounds like is a woman shrieking for her life in fear or inexplicable horror, coupled with the moaning horn-like sound of an unknown creature. If you hadn't been told this was a cougar, how would you feel hearing this in the middle of the woods? I mean, maybe it's just more horrifying knowing that it is a cougar, as it might just go for your face. Redditor Eli uses Reddit shares his opinion saying, hearing this without thinking it's a cougar would honestly make me blank myself, with many in the thread agreeing with that summatation. Others liken the sound to a woman having her life taken, while some think it sounds like a zombie breakout or a banshee. Further in the thread, however, Redditor The Lil Hedgehog claims that this sound is not in fact a cougar, but rather really is the sound of a woman shrieking from some police body cam footage, which has been dubbed into the video. Does anyone familiar with animal sounds know what a cougar shriek actually sounds like? Whether or not it's a cougar, I'd have to agree that if I heard this noise in the forest, I would surely panic. When a shadow passes through your security footage, you know you're not alone. Posted by Lily Monique to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Lily shares that her uncle David and her father work for mall security. She writes, "This is what my dad and uncle caught on mall security cameras where they work in the middle of the night in the parking lot. The video shows David standing in the middle of the empty lot. He remains there in the light and no one at all is around. But then a shadow passes close to the camera, completely blocking him from view for a moment. It almost looks as if a figure glided directly in front of the security camera. If I were David, I'd be looking over my shoulder in that parking garage. The next time you gaze up into the serene night sky, you might experience a feeling of panic instead of peace." Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by After Performance 2. The Redditor explains that these strange lights were seen in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina last year on July 19th. The lights were grouped in threes, and according to the Redditor, some disappeared before she could capture them on video. The video shows a trio of lights floating overhead in the sky, and a moment later, another trio closer to the horizon off in the distance. The sets of lights don't float in strict formation, but seem to each be wavering at their own pace. They then flicker and disappear. Redditor Professional Truck 3 suggests that these were paper lanterns lit and then launched from the beach, but the 70s Kids negates that, saying if these were lanterns, they'd drift apart. Well, some say the wind is obviously taking the lanterns in the same direction. After Performance 2 theorizes that they're all going to the same destination. Another Redditor, Buster Blevins, chimes in proposing that this is not necessarily a unique occurrence. He wrote, "Last Friday, a bunch of people saw something very similar to this in northern Wisconsin. The lights would appear in groups of 3. And it was as if there was a pattern that looked like the light was traveling in a circle around something." Any other theories as to what these strange lights could be? You may remember me talking about D-Menace in a previous video, but I wanted to give this video a further analysis. To describe D-Menace in short terms, the best would probably be Adrenaline Junkie. First appearing on YouTube in 2018, he has posted a variety of videos from conducting one-breath dives to venturing deep into tight caves. His videos are not for the faint of heart and can distress people with the feats he conducts. He has also posted several urban exploration videos. In June 2020, D ventured into an abandoned malt factory complex with several buildings to explore. All alone, he traveled through the dark and derelict halls. For the first half of the video, nothing particularly strange happens. D ventures through the various passages and even into the basement, finding strange and even beautiful graffiti on the walls. As he approaches the stairs to the basement, he feels apprehension as, in his words, the walls and ceiling begin to resemble the altered state of Silent Hill when it transitions to Otherworld.
I think I reached a really dangerous and scary part here because it's starting to feel and look exactly like in Silent Hill.
After some time, he decides to continue down the depths. Here, he finds a red bed or chair, something that gives him the creeps. Written on it in German is, "Raise your legs and chill." He continues to explore the basement, but is in a constant state of discomfort from the darkness and his mind playing tricks on him. Therefore, he decides to head back upstairs. He then states part of what creeps him out about this place is the lack of wildlife residing in the building. Unlike other places he's explored, he hasn't seen a single bird or rodent since arriving. As he makes his way into the second part of the complex, he begins to feel more anxious, hearing noises around him. He admits he is unaware if it is because he is simply spooked or if there's another person inside with him. Not long after making this statement, D discovers he is, in fact, not alone in the complex. As he is showing the view out the window, a man suddenly and casually walks out from the trees. Completely oblivious, D sees and is recording him. The man walks calmly to the same building D is in, but D is clearly nervous and says he hopes the man does not have ill intent. He then hears the man speaking, but it is unknown to whom. After, D becomes quiet, listening and acting increasingly anxious. Soon he enters a similar room to where he first saw the man walking up and is startled to see a pair of legs on the other side of a hole in the wall. He quickly quiets down and kneels, but realizes the man must have heard him as the legs retreat in the opposite direction. Realizing the risk of this situation, he decides to try and exit the building. However, as he approaches a corner, the man emerges and pushes D to the ground. After some exchanged words, the two men calm down and discover it was a simple misunderstanding. The other individual, named Jonathan, is just another urban explorer who is also unsure of D's intentions. Luckily this time, for both men, neither were there for anything bad and were just wanting to check the place out. D's video is a wake-up call for anyone intending to do their own exploration or even ghost hunts. Abandoned buildings pose all sorts of hazards, mostly from the decaying condition of the structures posing physical hazards. What is often overlooked is the possibility of others in the building who could potentially be living there or committing unsavory deeds away from prying eyes. Both D and Jonathan were justified in their suspicion of each other, and on this occasion were able to laugh it off and even continue to explore the building together. It is likely this made the adventure safe, as the two would now be able to look out for one another in case an accident occurred. It goes as a reminder to how the paranormal is not the only thing to be afraid of on these tours. D was definitely thanking his lucky stars he stumbled across Jonathan, as both explorers decided to head into the basement, as D felt it was better to have company. Down there they find spray cans, a piece of a bicycle body, and a package. However, down a deep corridor, D finds a bone. While it could be misinterpreted for human, Jonathan points out it doesn't appear to be. On analysis, it more so resembles one someone would give their dog to chew on. Regardless, D decides to leave the bone there. Certainly an adrenaline-inducing adventure this time, and thankfully D made a new friend to explore with. Still goes to show how careful one must be about the place they explore, as well as who might be in it. A YouTuber named Stromedy and his friend journey into a maze of tunnels deep underground to conjure the spirit of a girl who supposedly had her life forcibly taken down there long ago. They don't appear to be very serious in the beginning, but their attitude soon changes when they think they've summoned a relatively friendly spirit named Abby. Then roughly 9 minutes into the video, they feel another presence enter, and this happens.
Oh dude, it's doing figure eights again.
What?
Can you stop? Can you please?
Yeah. Holy.
That's freaking.
That's creepy.
I'm gonna ask him. Whoa!
They briefly consider leaving, but then Kyle volunteers to look through the middle of the pointer instead. Earlier, Abby said whoever does this will be able to see her true form. Kyle bravely puts the pointer to his eye and peers into the unknown.
Pa, you there, bro? Pa. Dude, seriously. Dude.
Let's just go. Let's go back. I know what you mean now. Let's go back.
Did you see her? What'd you see?
Let's go grab the board and let's go.
I think his reaction seems fairly genuine, but let me know if you agree or not. Here's another strange sewer grate video that's worth mentioning.
Huh?
I have no idea what is making these high-pitched noises, and apparently neither does this person. The bleeding quiets down and then starts up again. Everything from toads to alarm systems have been proposed, but I have never heard an alarm system that makes that noise, or any other piece of equipment on Earth for that matter. If whatever is making that noise is alive, then I hope they are not suffering. A doll that speaks is not mysterious, but a doll that speaks when it has no batteries certainly is. That's apparently exactly what this doll can do. If someone could please tell me what brand of doll this is, and also translate what is being said here, then maybe we can help solve this mystery.
Hola, encantado de conocerte.
They examine the doll for a hidden battery compartment and ultimately find nothing. Do you feel like you're being watched? Maybe you are. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Gage the Sun, this short clip will have you looking over your shoulder. Titled Eyes Out of Nowhere. There is no explanation for this footage. The clip shows two bright blinking eyes in the darkness hidden just beyond a pillar. They blink and then open once more. Then the dim light goes black and this pair of glowing eyes are all you can see. Don't look into the dark corner of your room after watching this clip or your imagination will keep you up all night. You might want to bring a shield and armor when this uninvited guest shows up to your family reunion. Published to YouTube by Ghosted UK in November of 2019. A group of people appears to be watching something going on off screen when all of a sudden a poltergeist pops up beside them. Something up on a shelf is sent crashing to the ground. Startled, the group all turns to look and most start laughing.
Your knees, Andrew, for some reason.
It's unclear what the disturbance was and what object was flung, but it seems to have been thrown with some aggression. Would you be laughing if this happened to you? Original footage. This video is, admittedly, hard to keep up with. The video is original footage from 1999 that was sent to a random station or address with no further information included. The quality is understandably low and glitches out several times. A general summary is that there's a group of what appears to be several teens drinking, chatting, and playing games. One of the games that gets pulled out is the Ouija board. Things are fine at first, and after playing with the board, a few clips pass and the doorbell rings. One boy, as well as the camera person, go to check the door and see no one is there. At first it seems like a case of ding dong ditch, but as they're standing at the front door, the bell begins to ring over and over again. The lights flicker as well, and the camera glitches severely.
The doorbell's dead. Jesus Christ!
After the terrifying incident, the group comes together to discuss what happened. Loud knocks can be heard from above or somewhere in the distance. The group travels through the house in several chopped up clips trying to locate the noise, but every time they're in one location, the noise can be heard in a different location.
Listen, they'll come again now. See, you hear that? And again? So, audience, whoever you are watching this, right now, I'm pretty much believing this house is haunted, and I'm pretty much believing we're experiencing it, yeah? A ghost situation.
The group even attempts to climb into the attic before the doorbell begins ringing again.
Hey man, again, see? How the f*** is that happening?
Once they're all inside, the doorbell ringing and knocking begins again. Another sound can be heard which sounds like a scratching or clicking.
What the f*** is that? What the f*** is that? Jesus!
A YouTuber named Austin Shippey is using the Ouija board with a friend. They apparently make contact, but it's not necessarily the spirit's answers that make this video haunting, but rather the strange sounds that kept coming from the background. It seems like every time they ask a question, something weird happens in the background.
Hey.
Perhaps the weirdest moment of all comes at the very end of the video, when they are ready to leave.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Goodbye.
There is no reason for the pointer to squeak like that. They are on a smooth surface and are not pushing down hard at all. A camping trip goes from relaxing to terrifying after a series of bizarre lights leaves one camper sure that he's being watched.
They're started again. Whoa.
These unexplained lights continued with no sound well into the night, and no, it's not lightning from afar if that's what you were thinking. He is pointing the camera straight ahead, not up in the sky.
It's crossing the screen. But you're gonna want... Whoa! Now did you see what I'm talking about?
This part shows less detail, but the angle proves that this is not lightning at all.
This is where it kind of creeps me out. Oh! There it is again. No lightning, because it's the same area every time and there's no clouds anywhere. There's a clear sky.
He makes it through the night and later reflects that something, paranormal or otherwise, was trying to set a trap for him. He's glad he chose not to explore that area. So that strange incident took place in September of 2015. I want you to compare that video incident to another video taken 2 years later by someone completely different. These wispy lights appear at the same height and look exactly the same. The silent show has the same amber glow when zoomed in. This time the lights are more frequent and hang around for longer than before. What could cause such a flash in the night is beyond me, and beyond creepy too. And then something new happens. 10 minutes and 46 seconds is when 3 white lights form and hang in the sky. If you connect the skylights, you'll see they take the shape of a flying triangular disc. The light in the middle grows brighter as it turns to meet his camera, and then the giant slow-moving maneuvers itself away from him. Out of sight, the lights are definitely moving as one and never do they break shape or formation. And when you go to the comments section, you'll see it's flooded with people from all over the world who say they have seen the same strange lights at night in their area and come across this video looking for an explanation. None of them have ever provided a satisfying answer, and the unexplained lights persist. When the past on are literally beneath your feet, you're bound to step in something. Published to YouTube by Exploring with Eric in May of 2020, Eric visits a graveyard at 3 in the morning in his new series, The Devil's Hour. My objective is to document all sorts of evidence that relates to the paranormal world, whether it be poltergeist activity, any shape or form of apparitions, etc. by using my basic ghost hunting equipment. In this series, you will see myself investigate alone. During the first episode, he gets more than he bargained for. While in the cemetery, Eric finds a mausoleum. After hearing a loud knock during a spirit box session, the glass door closes. He then says he heard someone's voice and he hopes there's no one here messing with him. Just as he decides no one's there, after wandering around the premises, he hears footsteps.
I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly where I want to show you.
He runs up the stairs to the second floor to see who is there. But there's no one. He notices that the doors are open to the outside. As he shows his viewers a fountain in the middle of the mausoleum, he hears footsteps again. He returns to the inner mausoleum, where the doors are again closed. Finally, he decides to leave and it's standing outside, saying he'll return again at some point. But as he pans around, a large shadow figure moves behind a nearby tree.
It's too much for me right now to handle, and like...
What was that? Is that what's been watching him? It's probably time to say goodbye. This clip shows a normal psychedelic filter, the electric color surrounding the girl in frame. She then turns her camera to span the room. The filter follows for a moment before becoming absent from the shot, as the room is empty. Or is it? The person detecting filter appears to detect someone in the chair sitting opposite. No one is there, and yet the silhouette of a human form starts to appear in the shot in shocking black and white. It seems to be seated in the chair. The girl turns the filter back to her face, and the shocking figure follows, blending into the psychedelic filter colors around her again. Redditor Hydra Wrench 97 is both tentative in jumping to the paranormal and rightly creeped out. She writes, "Usually these Snapchat filter ghost clips are glitching, and basically the camera falling for pareidolia, but this one is weird. Might just be the spookiest glitch ever, but it is very weird and would scare me if that was my living room. Maybe it sees something we don't." There are mysterious happenings that can be explained, and others to which there is no answer. Guess which one this mystery is? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by EBB Puzzleheaded, and originally published to YouTube by Daniel Robb. In May of 2020, these screams in the Texan night sky are sure to set your hair on end. In the clip, the uploader explains that there's a sound in the distance, screaming that seems to be coming from the sky, and you can regularly hear the eerie screech off and on for nearly 8 minutes.
What is that bizarre sound?
The uploader Daniel Robb says this happened between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. and that it sounded like a banshee, followed by several voices whooping. He says the sound filled the entire night sky. Others in the comments agree that it's demonic or banshee-esque, citing the end of times. Redditor I Have No Purpose in Life notes that the screams occur alongside the lightning strikes and wonders if they might be interconnected. I guess we may never know the actual answer. Going to medical school presents many challenges: high tuition, debt, and the occasional wild animal encounter. If you were coming up the steps and saw a Black Panther animal barreling at you, you would almost certainly run. Big mistake. It's already in motion and your panic would trigger its instincts. You're not getting far. The panther starts to go into someone's room, but something makes it think twice about going in. It probably doesn't like being cornered with one exit and chooses not to go further inside. The college in Karnataka, India went into lockdown as a result of this scary CCTV video. Yeah, I guess that would do it. I should point out that this isn't all that uncommon in schools across India, and I found some other creepy videos too. Here's a leopard at a college in Nainital. Thankfully, the only prey he finds is a car passing by, but imagine a college student looking at their feet walking along this fence. They'd never see it coming. I just hope everybody's alright. A ghost boy, known as a pukong in Indonesian, was captured on film in this cemetery. Posted by Antarija, a cameraman is wandering a cemetery at night when he turns to spot this figure. The figure is standing wrapped like a mummy. The distorted face is barely discernible, and the cameraman quickly turns and flees into the darkness. He keeps turning back and somehow the figure is closer and closer. Its horrifying face is what nightmares are made of. It's not clear if the thing is chasing him, but it does seem to be on his tail. Did he make it out alive? Or are one of these graves for him? Let's hope not. Walking home in the dark is never a treat. It's even worse if you cross paths with something like this. Posted to YouTube in February of 2018 by Rohit Mukherjee. This ghost sighting was caught on camera in India. The YouTuber writes that one of his uncle's friends captured the creature on camera while returning home late from work with a friend. He writes, as he was coming down the road, he heard some noises, mostly shrieks, and he thought it might be an animal or something. As he was looking around, he saw something on the trees and pointed his mobile camera towards it, and then he saw this mysterious creature. The footage does show a figure in the trees. It looks like a human outline. At first, you assume it's just some oddity in the shadows, but then it moves. After seeing this creature, the men say, "Bug, bug," which means run, run. They then raced home and sent the video to Rohit's uncle. What do you think this figure could be? A ghost, an evil shadow, or some other strange entity? Or maybe it's just a monkey? A family outing is interrupted when an unknown object floats towards them, barely noticeable at first if not for its shimmering color and odd movements just beneath the surface. As they curiously approach, they can see it's not an object floating underwater, but rather an unidentified creature, an unknown worm-like blob that makes one of them turn away in fear. This is his real reaction caught on camera. Tell me what language this is and what's being said so we know where this video was taken from. At 37 seconds, a brave family member tries to grab it with their bare hands, and back underwater the creature goes. They claim to have a second video which, as of this time, has yet to be uploaded. According to them, the bottom of the creature has a face with one dark eye. Hopefully they upload part 2 of this creature sighting soon, so we can all see it. It looks real so far, but I will reserve my final analysis until then. This alien-like creature perplexed everyone when the footage was released to the public sometime in 2008. Shell Company says they caught it on video hanging around one of their oil platforms about 200 miles from Houston, Texas. It was eventually identified as a long-legged sea creature called the Magna Pinna squid. But even to this day, many videos still insist that this is evidence of alien life. As such, I just wanted to include this squid on the list to put the rumor to rest. Okay, here's a weird one. The closet door in this bedroom keeps opening by itself, but before I even get into that, look what happens with the lamp. Somehow the bulb becomes extremely bright and goes back to normal despite lacking a dimmer switch. After that, the closet door swings open seemingly all by itself. Tell me if you see any signs of human interference here, because I see none whatsoever.
There it goes. And as you can see, there's nothing there.
I thought they were using a hook or something on the bottom right to pull the door open, but when I watched again I saw it was just a power strip running to the lamp. If anything, the door actually moves the strip out of the way, not the other way around. The closet looks too full to hold another item, but who knows what else was in there staring at them from the other side. Alcatraz. A man is walking around the infamous Alcatraz when he picks up 2 possible paranormal encounters. I'll start with the weirdest one first. He is inspecting a roll of holding cells when a loud voice seems to call out to him with a single question. It sounds to me as if the deep voice is asking one simple word: why? The second possible encounter occurs as he is entering another part of the prison. Listen to this strange and haunting laugh. This one has a fairly reasonable explanation. Alcatraz is on an island, so maybe this was a bird call echoing off the prison's walls. I can't tell for sure, so let me know what you think about these 2 events. According to a team of ghost hunters, this house in San Pedro, California has long been haunted by poltergeists who like to open cupboards, throw plates, change television channels, and linger in certain rooms until a mother and her 2 children felt uncomfortable enough to leave. A lot of events happened before the ghost hunters became involved and therefore were never recorded, but it wasn't uncommon for red liquid to drip from the walls of this haunted home for no explainable reason. Here is a quick clip of this happening in real time before the team's very eyes.
Everyone just left except us. Things are starting to drip out of the cabinets. Nobody believes us, but it's happening. There it is.
There it is, right there. It's dripping.
Eventually, the ghosts drive the mother and her children out of the home, and the ghost hunters volunteer to stay there and investigate for several months. One day, they hear 3 loud snapping noises coming from the attic and send a man named Barry to investigate. As he later recalls, something was up there waiting for them.
Are you okay, buddy? God, look at his neck. Look, Chef, what's behind your neck?
I don't know. What's on my neck?
Come on down. Look at your throat. Barry, get down.
Barry comes back down distraught and confused, now missing his glasses. Some kind of cord is wrapped around his neck, and he insists that something had tried to choke him upstairs in the attic. The investigation was called off not long after, out of a concern for the team's personal safety. A ghost hunting YouTube channel called Spartan Hunters 2 explores the narrow stone corridors of the old Paulding County Jail in Ohio for any signs of the afterlife. As soon as they turn the corner, they hear something that sends shivers down my spine.
Did you hear that?
What was that?
Wow.
An anguished scream cries out from deep within the jail complex, which I'm sure most of you heard, but did you hear the creepy laughter that follows the scream? Listen really closely and you can make out the faint echoes of laughter bouncing off the walls. It happens right after he says, "Did you hear that?"
Did you hear that?
A man is filming this old medieval building on the Mediterranean island of Sardinia when he notices the curtains of a balcony window are peeled back slightly to reveal a small grayish object peeking out from the bottom. Zoom in, and it almost looks like a tiny face, or else the top of someone's head who is very short, perhaps a small child. It could be a reflection of the palm tree swaying in the wind, or it could be a trapped spirit staring haplessly at the world to which it no longer belongs. This rare Russian creature is being called everything from a mole to a troll. The phone quality is too poor to make out much more than a tiny humanoid hand and a small face. Whatever this is, it doesn't behave much like a mole, which I doubt would stay above ground with two humans so close. Anyway, try to translate this conversation if you can, and let me know if they ever say what kind of creature this is.
Quantos saíram? Só Aí pra trás tem mais quantos? Cela 4 e a ala.
Bora, bota a cara pra cima aí.
At the 15-second mark, you can see its hand more clearly, and it does look like it could have a well-developed thumb, which would exclude it from belonging to most species. With that said, I think it could perhaps be a baby possum, which do have opposable thumbs and sometimes like to burrow underground. I could be wrong though, and even after almost 100,000 views, nobody seems to have come up with a concrete answer. It's after midnight and a YouTuber named Angie, the Green-Eyed Angel, is exploring a ghost town that is completely abandoned. She isn't even finished the introduction to her video before weird stuff starts happening. It took me a couple of listens, but I can actually hear the wind whispering her name here.
Abandoned ghost town. Hopefully you can see it behind me. I swear, I just heard my name.
Apparently the wind has other things to say as well. Strange noises continue to follow Angie as she sneaks through old buildings filled with spiderwebs and rotting architecture. After about 20 minutes of exploring, Angie stops and thinks she sees a grayish figure looking back at her.
Oh, I don't know if the camera can even see it.
Footsteps from behind send her screaming into the night. ILMN Bono Paranormal goes exploring an abandoned factory that has become a haunted place, full of many ghost sightings ever since an accident cost several workers their lives 60 years ago. Soon they discover firsthand exactly how paranormal this place truly is.
Ne.
12 days later, he returns for more.
The big hole is there and...
No way.
Some, no!
He says he's done, but he doesn't mean it. Everyone keeps begging for him to go back, and so 6 days later he returns for his final paranormal exploration at the haunted abandoned factory.
You heard it. There is something.
When you go back and look again, it does look like a shadow figure is caught on tape.
Oh my god! Did you see that? Of course it's not here anymore. No, he saw that, but it was standing right here.
Standing just around the corner is a patch of darkness that is brighter than the rest. Was it a ghost sighting or somebody standing around the corner? Based on the other paranormal activity he's caught on camera, I think we all know the answer to this real ghost sighting. It's Ethan Menard and his friend are out exploring when they find a long tunnel that gives off a creepy vibe when they are commenting on how dark the tunnel is and just trying to keep calm in general when suddenly a small child's voice chimes in somewhere behind them.
It's like pitch black in here.
The timing of this creepy small voice is quite a curious and morbid coincidence. It simply says hello at just the right moment during a pause in their conversation.
It's like pitch black in here.
Whether this was real or edited is up for you to decide, but I think there is a strong chance that something paranormal was down there. A survival YouTube channel called Funky Prepper thinks they've caught a real ghost sighting caught on tape in the middle of what would therefore be a creepy haunted forest. He is talking about a tent that he likes to use when a pale ghost creeps through the woods behind him. It's not dust, it's not lighting. That's either a computer animation or the pale white outline of a ghost. Now here's the thing. The ghost encounter just so happens to occur in the middle of a sales promotion. So while this very well could be a genuine ghost sighting, the timing is a bit too much of a coincidence. It makes you think this apparition caught on tape could instead be a clever viral marketing video. YouTuber Om Vlogs stayed in this haunted hotel for 24 hours and they didn't get a wink of sleep. It all began with the closest doors.
जाता हूँ ये गेट ना अभी खुला प्रियांक प्रियांक उठ एक बार उठ ना उठ 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 ये देखो ये अबे ये देख सामने देख गेट ये देख
They slam closed but then open again. They open wide enough to reveal that there's no one inside.
क्या करें जाके देखो जाके देखो देख हिल अभी मूवमेंट है देख मूवमेंट है अभी ये पूरा खुल गया देख
Later, they believe something is in the bathroom. Watch for the shadow in the corner. While the YouTuber thinks that this is a shadow person, I think it could belong to him. Watch it again. Could it just be the way this light falls in the bathroom? Share your opinion in the comments. While exploring deep inside the Cave of Mounds, YouTuber Near Shadow starts to hear whispers. Listen closely.
Oh, your light, hold on.
What was that? What was that? What is that?
Hello?
Later, you can definitely hear a child's voice in this larger cavern.
Looks like it's like gonna fall. Look.
It does. This is cool.
Yeah, there's so much moisture that you don't know, like look how wet that is and then you can't.
The team doesn't appear to hear this in the moment. To me, the voice sounds a lot louder than the earlier whispers. Is there a child spirit trapped in the Cave of Mounds? I think it's time to send in the cave divers. Something is watching, but what that is, we don't know. TikToker Axel Loza Official shares this creepy video captured in these boys' room at night. Two boys are seen sitting straight up in bed, staring at something.
Aquí están mis hermanos y desde hace rato se quieren dormir, pero están viendo la misma cara que yo.
What are they looking at? Well, you're about to find out.
No sé qué hacer. No se pueden dormir. Vean, aquí está.
A childlike face is peering out from a frosted closet window, but when the cameraman goes to open it up, this happens.
Ya está, pero cuando yo trato de abrir, no hay nada. No hay absolutamente nada. Y no sé qué hacer.
Where did she go? While I would be hiding in the comments with everyone else, I'm going to check all my closets real quick first. Lainey and Ben's haunted house has turned up the intensity in recent months. Now things are levitating. Watch the lamp to the left. A little later, a cutlery drawer opens and closes in the kitchen. Then the tap turns on. You can hear the water running. It turns off and back on again. Shortly after, a strange, unexplained sound is heard. This is followed by some more strange noise, which sounds to me like a garbage disposal. Although all of the activity frightens me, the levitation in the beginning has me really hooked. It also has plenty of people really scared. Stay tuned for more fear. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by A Growing Lotus, filmed in the Inland Empire in Southern California. This redditor suspects these lights are a part of an unidentified flying object. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Is there 3 of them?
Yeah, it's like 3. What is that? But then, Mom, stars? What the heck is?
Keep recording it, because that is weird. And the way they're moving, like up and down, airplanes don't do that. Airplanes don't move up and down like that.
And it's not a drone either.
What? The other one's kind of disappearing.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Adventurous Ad 2736 wondered if they were paper lanterns, to which the uploader responded saying, "They move too fast up and down, and I don't think paper lanterns can do that." And Faded Claws YT wrote, "It's probably just those drones people use for light shows and stuff," to which the uploader responded saying, "They didn't look like drones in person, but who knows? They were extremely bright. You can't tell in the video, unfortunately, and they disappeared eventually. So which side are you on here? Paper lanterns, drones, or a legit unidentified flying object? Let me know in the comments."
I thought I was hallucinating at first.
And that one, the other one's like already
disappearing. I'm having like a really weird deja vu feeling.
Just go wait now.
But the other one's kind of disappearing.
Like
did they just disappear?
There's one right there. There's 2 on that side.
Did this news clip just capture a real-life teleportation in action? Redditor Cat Daddy shared this clip that was captured on the news. Watch the background closely.
Es muy importante durante el entrenamiento y cuando firman el juramento que ellos están confirmando que no van a ser.
¿Y eso qué?
Did you see it? The dude just blipped in out of nowhere. It truly looks like a portal just opened in the air and he walked through it. Nothing is altered in the foreground or background to make me suspect that this clip was altered, but there are varied opinions in the comments.
Es muy importante durante el entrenamiento y cuando firman el juramento que ellos están confirmando que no van a ser.
¿Y eso qué?
I agree with Joe Films. A morph transition can make it appear as though the speaker hasn't stopped talking, but elements in the background become distorted. In fact, Redditor Julian shares one of those elements. They didn't smooth out the reflections in the glass, seen here. Although I think this mystery has been solved, I kind of wish it hadn't been. This pair of videos will send you running. Posted to TikTok by Jen Barari, something is stalking around outside Jen's home in this first clip.
Holy sh! Did you guys hear that? That was crazy.
What made these noises?
Yo, I swear to that wasn't me.
The first whisper sounds like help to me.
That was crazy.
But I'm not sure what the other noises are. Jen's second video is even freakier. Upon returning home in the night, she sees this. But a security camera captures something else. Many in the comments are freaked out that this spirit is mimicking her. It looks very much like Jen, same length of hair and everything. It even kind of sounds like her in the first video. So is this spirit preparing itself to become her? I for one think so. Both clips are super suspect. This paranormal investigator's creepiest capture in a cemetery is bone-chilling. The YouTuber was exploring the hauntings at St. Joseph Cemetery near Kimswick, Missouri, when she captured several EVPs.
Michael?
Later, while she was attempting to communicate with the passed on using a spirit box, Michael made his physical cameo. Watch to the right, just above the vehicle.
Which grave is yours?
Nobody appears to be in the vicinity. So to whom does this shadow belong? I vote for Michael. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Buddy and Rascal. This two-part submission starts with a photo. The Redditor wrote, "Caught this face while me and my mom were putting the boards on our basement windows. Our house was built in 1901. This image got a ton of upvotes with commenters praising its realness and asking for more evidence. The Redditor then posted a video writing, "Here is a video of our basement. I personally don't see anything, but if you guys do, please let me know." In the comments, Wrangler Greedy 2976 thought they saw movement in the crawl space at the 16-second mark.
So you walk down here, and the first thing you're greeted by is our crawl space. I don't know what light to turn on so you can see it better, but that's our crawl space. And then this is the window that the face was in. Don't like this window, but the crawl space isn't much better. There isn't very good vibes back here.
Do you see what this commenter is talking about? Nevertheless, let's hope Buddy and Rascal are able to capture more paranormal evidence in this home. This mysterious capture by YouTuber Gillian Rocher leaves me with many questions. Rocher explains in the description that she saw this strange man outside her window marking a tree.
Nakita niya yung lalaki. Meron siya pinapahid sa puno. Tago lang tayo onti. Meron Doberman. Ano yung ginagawa niya sa puno? Loko to.
The man can be seen doing something to the tree for a time before grabbing his dog's leash.
Anong plano mo? Anong inaano mo dyan sa puno, ha?
After the stranger left, the YouTuber went to investigate.
So yan yun. Ano yung ginawa niya kanina rito?
It looks like the guy scraped the bark from one side of the tree, leaving a mark, but for what purpose is still unclear. I'm not sure where this video is filmed, but YouTuber BioCyber suggests that the strange man is a Russian sleeper agent marking a target. This is where my head went to, although I wasn't specifically thinking Russian. This may be a spy or agent marking this site for himself or other agents to later find. What do you think is going on here? This creepy encounter was posted to Reddit by Ghosty Phase. A Ring doorbell camera captured a young woman's stalker. The woman says she was followed home from Walmart and her stalker showed up on her doorstep. At first, the man appears to be looking for his own keys, but then he fails to find any and peers around the corner of the house. Many are wondering if the creep left something for his victim. Although we can agree that this is beyond creepy and edging into full-on horror, I do think this footage reminds us not to trust anyone. You never know when you could cross paths with someone like this. While communicating with lost souls in the witch's mirror, YouTube team Toppy's session gets dark. Nastya explains where the mirror comes from.
Данное зеркало принадлежало моей покойной прабабушке. Прабабушка славилась тем, что она была шептухой.
And she begins the ritual. It sounds like something wants out of the mirror. And a shadow falls on the wall beside Nastya. The whole team comes, and through a spirit box, they ask if someone is there.
Я включаю спиритбокс. С нами кто-нибудь сейчас здесь есть?
After communicating with the spirits for a time, they leave a still camera in front of the mirror, and this is what they capture. What is this strange dark haze? Is it the spirit? I think it is. If I had to guess, I'd say this witch's mirror is a portal to the afterlife, one that shouldn't be tampered with. If you plan to ghost hunt in a haunted forest, prepare to meet your doom. YouTuber Kelsey Davies and her crew encountered several paranormal events in their forest ghost hunt. First, she hears a woman's voice.
I just heard a woman humming.
That sounds more like a shout than a hum to me. Apparently Kelsey saw her too.
She was crouched down by the creek, humming, with no shoes on.
As they approach the creek in question, Susie feels like she was pushed.
You guys don't push me. I didn't. What? What? Someone pushed you? Stop. So where's the I swear. Don't push me. It was him.
He's staying right here.
Did someone push Susie? Push you? Don't push me.
When asked if somebody tried to push Susie into the water, the spirits have an answer for Kelsey.
I heard yes, and then it said we are coming. We are.
Are you guys coming?
While they continue to speak through the spirit box, one of them hears the name Susie.
Why?
I heard Susie. I swear
oh my
I heard
really?
Susie.
Oh, is it? Yep. Jesus.
It seems this spirit is out to get Susie.
Right behind you. Whoever... I can't even speak right now.
Oh, that's it, I'm here.
Yeah.
That's it, I'm
It
here.
literally said I'm here.
That's it, I'm...
The spirits repeat their intentions.
What?
That was we're all coming.
That
That literally said we're all
Voice,
coming.
though. That was not like a regular
No,
voice. That was like a
no.
demonic voice.
That was really bad.
And their thirst for Susie doesn't end there.
Oh my
That's a
Susie!
Yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah. I heard that's my second time.
Why do they want me so bad?
I think this is a valid question. Why are the spirits coming after Susie? And did the ghost woman by the creek try and push Susie into the water? If I were her, I'd take this as a sign to get the heck out of there. Is your child seeing things, or is there something to her visions? Posted by Colin71514 to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This story and subsequent video will send chills down your spine. The Redditor explains that her story begins in December of 2018. The couple had bought their 4.5-year-old daughter a secondhand baby doll. Things were pretty normal until they weren't. After about 2 weeks, Colin's daughter started breaking things for no reason. Thinking it was just a phase, the parents didn't worry too much about it. The daughter then started wanting to sleep in their room, saying a little girl kept waking her up at 3 in the morning. This went on for 2 months until her father got an uneasy feeling about the doll and decided to throw it in a dumpster far away. This brings us to the video in question. The daughter is seen in the room playing on her table on the bed. She moves off the bed shouting for her dad, then looks up at the window beyond and starts to scream. The Redditor says her daughter claims she saw an old woman in the window. Exterior cameras didn't capture anything near their home. Considering the Redditor herself and her husband experienced odd things in this home as well, perhaps this is more than just a child's imagination. If you find yourself being chased while in an abandoned building, the best step is to leave. Instead, this man found himself stalked into a corner. Published in November of 2021 by Paranormal My, demons instantly make their presence known in this creepy abandoned building. As the cameraman is gazing up at the multi-storied complex, glass is heard breaking off to the side. He goes to investigate but finds nothing. In the stairwell, another loud noise is heard up above. It's not clear where the noises are coming from, but it certainly makes the neon green lit stairwell even more ominous. As the night grows darker, something throws a bunch of torn up sheets from an upper floor. A creepy being dressed in white and with bleach white hair is seen above. It peers down at the cameraman for a moment but then pulls out of view. Who knows what this entity's intentions may be? Later, while in another dark stairwell, footsteps are heard down below ascending. The cameraman captures a shot of the lower floors, and a scary obscure shadow can be seen on the landings below, making its way upwards. The footsteps become louder and more rapid, giving everyone, except apparently the cameraman, the ultimate chills. As our hearts beat faster and faster, at last, there's a shot of the culprit. It looks like a man without a shirt, wearing white pants. He's holding a flashlight, though likely not paranormal. There's something even creepier about the scary stalker, because as we all know, running into a stranger can end up much worse than running into a ghost. Just when you think you've got your fear handled, it starts to eat you alive. This is an Instagram post gone wrong. This woman has a voice like a nightingale and is recording herself to showcase her talent. But your focus is shifted by the strange supernatural mirror that magically appears in the background, with the camera facing selfie style toward the girl. At the beginning of the clip, you can see the space on the wall behind her is empty. She shifts, and suddenly there's a small mirror posted there. As she continues to sing, oblivious in the mirror, strange reflections emerge and disappear sporadically. Being as it looks like she's in the classroom alone, these figures appearing out of nowhere are more than frightening. And when she finally realizes something's off, she springs from her seat screaming. She flees the classroom. Where did this mirror come from? Who or what was being reflected in it? And more importantly, what did they want? A mysterious creature sighting was caught on camera at the edge of the woods in Forest Lake, Minnesota by a woman named Stephanie Gibbons. Based on her description of it, this thing, which she says was a creature known only as the Dog Man, is undoubtedly one of the scariest things in the woods she's ever encountered before. Stephanie says the Dog Man sighting occurred around 7:30 p.m. She describes the Dogman creature as having long arms and a scruffy mane. It's too small to be a bear, and Stephanie says cougars don't live back here, so it's not that. According to her, the demon creature hardly notices them, too busy watching deer across the field. She never shows the deer, so that part of her story can't be verified. The Dogman stays still until 12 seconds when her daughter makes a noise. Stephanie says this is the moment when the Dogman looks over.
It's ear flick. Oh my god. It just looks and perked its ears up. What the f?
They accidentally zoom out so I don't see it move. Other people have said they can see it sniff the air and lick its nose, and I wanted to know if you can see any of those things happening here, because to be honest, I don't. She also posted a photograph to prove that this is a humanoid creature of some sort. It looks like it could be a person crouching down wearing a wolf mask at first, until you take a closer look. On top of his head are two horns and what looks like leathery wings wrapped around a bat-like body. Stephanie says the Dogman sighting is one of the many reported in the area, but this is the only one that she herself has seen. Tell me if you believe her. This YouTube channel is dedicated to finding a local legend known only as the Clover Forest creature. Two friends are investigating an area of the woods where the last sighting was reported when they detect what appears to be a pair of eyes staring at them from across a creek.
Whoa, get down. Oh my god, that's it. I think so.
At first I thought this could just be one of their friends wearing a mask with glowing red eyes, but watch this next part and tell me what you think. The eyes briefly go away and then reappear, which makes me think that this creature is blinking.
No, keep your light on it, keep your light on it.
Soon the Clover Forest creature walks away and is not seen again. It's too bad that they didn't have a high beam flashlight to shine across the creek and solve the mystery once and for all. Still, tell me whether you think this video is scripted or real based on the 11 seconds of video I was able to show. A YouTuber named David Rebordeo hears noises coming from an attic and decides to go up and investigate for himself. Here you can see they are both far away from the source of the noise, and they're not pretending to hear something. David videos the upstairs for a while and doesn't come across much. He passes the camera and starts to climb down the ladder. All of a sudden, the equipment makes a buzzing sound not found in any other part of the video. That's when the noisemaker reveals itself and nearly makes physical contact. It's hard to say if this was a person or some sort of ghostly ghoul. The buzzing noise makes me think that this was a paranormal disturbance, but I guess this could have been CGI, so let me know what you think it was. This infrared video from 2008, taken by a ghost hunting squad in South Dakota called the SPCTR, details paranormal evidence at an abandoned house haunted by the spirit of a child. A mysterious figure peers around the corner at the end of the dark hallway. A ghost if you ask the SPCTR team, but I'm not so sure. The figure doesn't seem very tall and has shoulder-length hair if you look closely at 18 seconds, so maybe this was a little ghost girl in the hallway after all. If this is fake, then one of the paranormal investigators is crouched down to make themselves look like a kid. Tell me if you think this paranormal evidence is legit, or if this was a made-up sighting from the early days of YouTube. These guys are trying to communicate with a spirit at their clinic office, specifically Jen. To determine who they're talking to, they use flashlights.
We're gonna say, oh, I think it's cool with that. We're gonna say the alphabet, and whichever one your name is, can you please turn off the flashlight on that letter, okay?
When they arrive at J,
H, I, J,
Jen.
Yeah, it's Jen, I think, or something tied to Jen. It has to.
But another flashlight is directed by a second spirit.
Another one, right? That's a different spirit. Okay. K L M N. Okay.
They're trying to figure out which of the spirits wrote the note or were somehow connected to it.
If you're not connected to it, turn off your flashlight. Daniel's not connected to it.
So Jen is.
So Jen is.
I knew it.
And finally, they ask Jen.
Jen, were you the one that wrote the note? Oh. Wait, but she's connected to it, so she
Do
doesn't
you know
write.
who wrote the note? Were you here when they wrote the note?
Although the Redditor doesn't explain in the comments what note he's asking the spirits about, according to him, Nathaniel once scratched him. I'm really not sure if he should be keeping the lines of communication open with an entity this aggressive. Is my house haunted? Writes a user named BB5432 on the haunted subreddit. This paranormal video of their place was caught on a neighbor's doorbell cam across the street, who later showed it to her out of concern. It doesn't look like much at first, but there's actually a lot of creepy things going on in this video that you might not see. But first, let's start with the basics. The Reddit poster claims her house was completely dark when these mysterious, unexplained lights started flashing all around the door. The television in the living room was not on, she says, and even if it were on, it's facing the opposite way at an angle that would not create this effect at all. Whether or not to believe her is up to you. I do, because the flashing seems too bright for a television and takes up the whole window at times. Nobody would watch a television screen that bright because it would undoubtedly hurt to look at for that long. And at 25 seconds, the creepy light grows even brighter and does not subside until the video ends. BB5432 later posted, she has no further reason to think their house is haunted, but still struggles to explain what this was if not a ghost. She adds the same thing happened to her years ago. The same neighbor showing her and her husband lights in their door, and nobody could figure it out then either. Someone said they should check the electrical wiring in that room, which I agree is a good move. But other than that, everyone else says this is super weird, and even she has to admit she's creeped out. There's also one more weird thing that I wasn't even going to mention, except she saw it too. A shadow figure in the doorway. You can see it whenever the lights go down, but it's probably most apparent at 4 seconds. I took a still image and zoomed in. Here it is with no special effects whatsoever. The outline of a shadow figure looking out the window. Tell me if you can see it too. I'd say that house is haunted, if that's not a resident. Trevor, aka Hitch, has a live stream channel where he travels all across the country meeting new people. The only problem is the people he meets aren't always alive. He's staying overnight at a hotel that's supposedly haunted when scary things happen to him. The kind of stuff the hotel's owner would probably never want you to see because it would be bad for business.
I've never seen anything that can be explained. I've never heard anything that could have no explanation.
He is in the middle of talking about how he's never experienced a scary moment that couldn't be explained.
And I'm doing stuff where people, I think people would be like, you'd be very...
When suddenly some weird things caught on live stream leave him laughing uncontrollably with fear. I think he's laughing to cover up an intense sense of panic. A vein is about to bust out his forehead with adrenaline, suggesting his fight or flight instincts were triggered and he was gearing up for conflict. This was not someone in his hotel room because, unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't sharing a room with anyone in this video. He was staying all by himself when the lights turned on. I guess he could have asked a random person to help him make a ghost video, but his response seems genuine, so I don't think this moment is made up. I will say as a counterpoint that many other scary live stream moments like this have turned out to be fake though, so I'm not claiming this was 100% real. I'm just saying that this was really weird and he seems freaked out. Tell me if you think he was really staying in a haunted hotel that night. I think he was. After all, when you traveled to different places all over the country, it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up being haunted. YouTuber Justy Sandhu Official captured what he believes is a real witch on camera. First, he hears her crying. Then he sees her.
What? What?
Then she lets out this wail that would drive anyone away.
What you got?
Is this truly a witch? I think so. I've never heard something so otherworldly in my life. This reportedly leaked video appears to be taken in a desert somewhere on the outskirts of civilization. Two scientists in full biohazard gear examine a colossal footprint that's been left behind by what appears to be some type of giant creature. I think this video is likely not real because there appears to only be one footprint and no others nearby. If there was a series of footprints stretching beyond the horizon, I would be more inclined to believe it's real. Otherwise, they could have easily dug a hole in the shape of a monstrous footprint. If you've ever wondered who would win in a battle, a human or a ghost, you're about to have your answer. This clip was posted to Facebook in March of 2020. The footage shows a semi-transparent ghost throwing rocks and other items from under a bridge. As other men enter the scene and see what's transpiring, one of them takes it upon himself to run at the ghost man and confront him. After a struggle with the man, the ghost comes out ahead. Many more men join in before the ghost man escapes and assumedly glides off to his ghost den. What's happening here? What did this ghost possibly want? This story needs a follow-up. Have you ever had a night stalker? Andrew J. Neese has. He published this chilling video in May of 2011. The footage is of a man dressed in a black hoodie standing outside his bedroom window. The uploader appears to be located on an upper floor, and the stranger is standing below it in plain view staring up at the window. In the video description, Andrew explains, "In the spots where the audio cuts out, I did that myself because I was telling the 911 lady my name, address, and phone number, and didn't want the personal info online, especially not with this weird guy outside." He tells the 911 operator that the man has been standing there in the alley for about 30 minutes, basically right in the middle of the road just staring at him.
Hi, yeah, there's this guy just like standing outside my window. And he's just like looking up at the window. He's been there for about 30 minutes now.
As many in the comments section have noted, the scene is terrifying. Some suggest to open the window and ask him what he's doing, though I'm not sure if that's a good idea. It is unknown what happened after this recording stopped. Encounters with strangers in abandoned places and the paranormal are scary enough. So what happens when you encounter some type of humanoid creature in the middle of a forest? Strange Videos published this footage in December 2016. The footage is taken in the woods. You can hear birds singing and chirping. It seems like a calming, pleasant, peaceful nature walk. Then you spot it. Down the center of the shot creeps past a dark creature. It's hard to tell what the figure is at this distance, but its shoulders are hunched and the way it moves makes it seem not of this world. A closer shot of the creature calls its species even further into question. Most in the comments of the video seem to agree that it's not a Bigfoot. The gait and the creature's arm length seem to invalidate the Bigfoot theory. So what else could this creature possibly be? Without any additional footage, there will be no way to tell for sure. This footage was apparently found inside the Penhurst Asylum, which is a real abandoned place located in Pennsylvania. The footage contains two students exploring the clearly abandoned building, and while nothing too bizarre happens in this footage, the backstory and timing are enough to make you scream. The two student explorers were never seen again after this. Well, that is terrifying enough. I want you to focus on the timestamp in the corner. Notice how they are ending up in new spots in the asylum at a faster and faster rate. Near the end of the video, the pair end up in the forest at a rate where the speed they are traveling is simply inhuman. What do you think is happening here? If this footage is real, then it is a case where the happenings would never be believed, if not for it being recorded. YouTubers The Proper People published this exploration of an abandoned psychiatric hospital in April of this year, 2018. The psych hospital was built in the 1800s for poor folks who couldn't afford healthcare and has been abandoned for more than 2 decades. The place certainly looks old. Whole pieces of wallpaper are chipping from the walls. Below the hospital are tunnels connecting to the surrounding buildings. The crew didn't enter the tunnels because unlike the psychiatric hospital, those buildings are still in use, but they did come upon a fallout shelter. Many of the rooms they come across are empty, some are locked, making the crew and their viewers curious about what's inside. But perhaps the most curious rooms are those with piles of the psych's hospital supplies and equipment. Chairs, tables, walkers, buckets, mattresses all thrown together in one place. They even encounter an old green tub with an adjacent seat used to lift disabled patients in for bathing. And further on, they arrive at half of an elevator car. For some reason, there's something so unsettling about an open elevator shaft and an elevator not where it's supposed to be, Michael says. It gives you a bad feeling. Well, Michael, this whole place gives us a bad feeling, so I'm going to stay as far away from that hospital as possible. Jonathan Savo published this video in January 2015. After visiting his girlfriend in a Paris hospital, he wrote that a woman in the next bed was roaring and screeching with the voice of a devil, and that's what the video captures. The woman is seen lying flat in a bed, speaking in a raspy, evil voice. She is harassing the couple, calling them tacky and ugly, and telling them they're all going to die. Although you can only see her profile in the video, and you can't see her mouth moving, what you can see is her chest rising and falling as she delivers her angry tirade of insults and threats. She then says she's going to call her mafia friend, after which she claims she's going to remove her IV drip so they can get out of the hospital. That's where the clip ends, leaving us wondering if the woman did in fact try to escape, but John doesn't leave us hanging. In his own words, he wrote, "I was no longer filming when she or it started to get up and wanted to take the life of a person sitting next to her. 5 nurses came in to stop her, and we were asked to leave the room quickly. What happened next, John doesn't know. Prior to this experience, John says he was skeptical about demonic possessions and everything related to them, but after seeing one in the flesh, he's a believer." Baby monitors sometimes capture that which we don't even know is there. This creepy clip was posted to r/ghosts by Zealous Ideal Call 53. It shows a monitor placed in a child's bedroom. The baby is playing while her guardian appears to be on her phone. All is normal until you turn up the sound. A growl of a voice snarls "help me" 3 times in a row at the beginning of the video. Neither the baby nor the young woman in the video appears to hear the voice. Is it crossed wires with a nearby baby monitor? Did someone hack the monitor's sound? Or is it an EVP capturing someone beyond crying out for help? The Redditor explains in the comments that this isn't the only strange occurrence in their house, and that paranormal events have regularly been happening since she was pregnant. The Redditor writes, "We've had another incident with her nanny cam and seeing a black shadow near her, an orb, and her suddenly waking up screaming. I've had issues in my own room with the feeling of someone watching me, breathing on my neck, severe night terrors, and missing items that suddenly return. Does this give more credence to the presence of a paranormal entity? My answer is yes." While investigating an old schoolhouse, this group's trail camera caught this unexplained happening. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Key Consequence 7618 explains what we're looking at here. We had come from the first classroom walking towards the second classroom. This is a light in the doorway on the left just as the board jumps up. The board that he's talking about is a piece of plywood set in a doorway. It shudders long after they've entered the room, so it can't be a reverberation of the crew having walked on it. Further, as the Redditor said, a strange light appears in the window of the door, as if someone that was standing there left at that very moment. Although the Redditor says he and another member of his crew were the only two people in the house, it looks like they weren't alone. There's an area in Ithaca, New York that's hiding a pretty creepy secret found by a TikToker named Lil Pack. Go on Google Earth and enter these coordinates to find it. As you walk under a bridge, keep looking up and to your left and zoom in after every step. Eventually you'll find the same pale-faced creature poking out from the shadows that Lil Pack found before. This alien-looking face almost has to be the work of graffiti and not a real bridge-dwelling monster. It looks like it's peeking out from the shadows at first, but I'm pretty sure this actually is a steel support column and not a darkened corridor. But still, I could be totally wrong. The only way to tell for sure would be to travel to this bridge in Ithaca and see what happens to you, if anything. 30-year-old Alexa was returning to her Bronx home in University Heights when she got that feeling in the pit of her stomach. She detailed what happened to her in a Twitter thread in September of 2018, noting that she wrote the thread to warn women in her neighborhood to be aware that this person is out there. Alexa said she was returning home by Uber at 3:50 a.m., heading to the lobby of her building, when she got a strange feeling that she wasn't alone, as she suspected, and the building security footage confirmed she wasn't. A man had followed her through the courtyard outside and quickened his pace to enter the lobby right behind her. Alexa notes in the thread that she didn't see or hear the man watching her. When she was in the lobby, she realized there was a figure hovering outside the front door, waiting in the first entryway. She decided to double check the door locked behind her. She turned to the door to shut and lock it and noticed he had his foot on the corner, ensuring the door didn't close after she entered. She notes that the man likely intended to confront her outside the building, which is why he didn't enter the lobby all the way, or he was waiting for her to head toward her apartment so he could run after her and force his way in. Don't worry, he didn't have a chance. Alexa shut the door, moving his foot out of the way to do so. Unfortunately, the suspect had a scarf wrapped around his face to ensure he wouldn't be identified by security cameras. She notes that drivers should always wait until their passengers reach their front doors safely. In her case, the Uber driver left when she got out of the vehicle. Alexa also remarks that, without the security footage to back her claim, her story would undoubtedly have been questioned and disbelieved. These stories should always be listened to and heard, and above all, as Alexa did, always trust your gut. There's nothing like Russian dashcam videos. They're usually next level crazy. This video clip is no different. A red Volkswagen is seen cutting off the driver with the dashcam and another car in front of him. So when they reach a red light, the driver decides to rev his engine and pass the Volkswagen. Big mistake. After they pass him, the Volkswagen speeds up again to pull around the driver and cuts him off, blocking his way forward. Then a man dressed in black gets out of his vehicle to confront the dashcam driver. After a very brief exchange of pleasantries, the Volkswagen owner opens the trunk of his vehicle and reaches for a golf club. Apparently, the faintest confrontation in Russia on the road can lead to brutal results, of your vehicle at least. Things have been known to quickly escalate on the Russian roads. A TikToker paranormal team called Zodiac Supernatural is in the middle of the woods when this wild noise rips through an otherwise still night. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because it sounds massive and furious.
Really cold to be sitting.
I can't tell if it's being devoured, letting out a warning call, or just going crazy at their camera lights. I'm surprised that everyone doesn't immediately run away, which makes me wonder if they actually had some idea of what it was and possibly weren't telling us.
So it's really cold to be sitting.
A TikToker named Mark Anthony catches this strange activity at a post office after hours. Some kind of hanging display swings all by itself while an identical display stays still. I think it could just be blowing under an AC vent, but then again, in the very beginning you can see all of the other wall displays in the other doors stay still. So it is weird that out of all of these, only one moves. Jan Flink heads to a crumbling cluster of haunted cabins in his home country of Finland. His flashlight cuts out 6 times as soon as he reaches the back of the first cabin. He is still holding it though, so maybe he is doing it himself. Up in the attic, he finds this strange setup, a single bowl on a makeshift sleeping area made of thin wood. Only one shoe is never a good sign. He goes outside and his flashlight starts messing up some more, but look behind him right before it does.
Should I just say bye? Or see you again in next video. Bye.
A woman in red with long black hair is looking at him. It wouldn't be too hard to fake this, and the fact that nothing happens for 44 minutes until the very end of this video makes me suspicious, but Jan Flink claims that this is the spirit of a woman who had a bad encounter with a bear in 1964 and passed away. It's been years since the video was posted, and as far as I've been able to research, he never said it was fake. A group of ghost hunters are exploring a notoriously haunted retirement home in Ohio at 1 a.m. when they manage to find something strange and unsettling.
To the bathroom. Here it is again at half speed.
One of the ghost hunters barely manages to catch this fleeting shadow while turning around. The room to the right is completely empty and nobody is inside, plus everybody else is in a different section of the house. It doesn't look like the camera is simply adjusting to different lighting conditions, so there really is absolutely no reason for a shadow to be on the right side of the screen like that. To me, it looks like something is possibly making a quick escape. A man follows footprints across a vast and frozen landscape at night, with only his camera light to guide him. The sound of each step amplified by crisp fallen snow crushed underfoot. The mysterious footprints trail off at a lone tree, evenly split down the middle. He looks up, 2 peering eyes reflect back at him, and he immediately runs away. The eyes are low and spread apart, so it could be some wildlife, maybe an owl, but that still doesn't explain why the footsteps lead directly to this spot, nor does it explain what happened at 38 seconds, when this creature might close one eye to give a knowing wink. This drone video, taken a couple hours away from Area 51 in Utah, depicts a small cylinder that could possibly be a UFO as it brushes by in a burst of speed. The fast disc approaches at a vertical angle before flipping over and passing the drone on a horizontal axis. This video could be CGI because the drone does not shake at all as it rushes by at a very high rate of speed. Or it could be some kind of military application that we were never meant to see. Despite that concern, everything else in this raw footage seems very authentic. Of course, the final possibility that no one wants to accept is that this flying saucer could be from another planet. One day, a student named Ella got her entire hand stuck in a paper towel dispenser. I'm not sure how she did this, and neither do her classmates. All I know is she seems majorly stuck and nobody can free her hand for the entire video. Pulling her arm doesn't help and seems to only make things worse.
Just pull that.
My question, besides how did this happen, is what can be done to get her out? I'm thinking an ambulance probably had to be called to dismantle the dispenser, or at least take it off the wall, but we'll never know for sure because the video is only 1 minute and 16 seconds long. Jared Costa hears this eerie buzzing noise over his Southern California home at 5 in the evening. He looks above for helicopters but sees nothing. Take a listen and tell me if this sounds like a helicopter or not. I think it sounds like nothing of the sort, but at the same time, I don't have a better explanation to offer. Commenters from Palm Springs to La Mesa all claim to have heard the exact same noise. Years later, the noise remains an unsolved mystery. Jonathan FOD and his friends go exploring an abandoned meat processing facility building that everyone in town says is haunted, but the air quotes around ghost seems to mean he doesn't quite believe it.
So supposedly, there's a ghost that roams around here.
Soon he will.
Oh shit. Hey!
Who's here?
As Jonathan FOD and his two friends are ghost hunting in some kind of tool shed, they get what they think could be some paranormal evidence caught on tape.
What the? Bro, y'all heard that? Bro, what the fuck is that? Bro. Is anybody there? Oh.
All three of them are on camera when these noises happen. You can see they are just standing there with their hands down, so it can't be them. Maybe Jonathan had a fourth person making all of that noise, but I don't see how they could have faked that ghost EVP at 8 minutes and 50 seconds. It really does sound like the muffled voice of a small child.
What the? Bro, y'all heard that? Bro, what the fuck is that?
Luan Mendez is a paranormal investigator and urban explorer from Brazil who likes to go exploring haunted and abandoned places. Of his many scary videos, this ghost hunting video is by far the scariest. He is hunting for a ghost that often takes the form of a scary old woman. It isn't long before the alleged ghost sightings caught on camera. The ghost scares them in the window and then especially in the doorway. I would question if this ghost video is real or not, except for one weird thing here. They are shining a light directly at the woman, and yet nowhere does her mysterious figure cast a shadow. That's probably the scariest thing of all. It makes it seem like the video's paranormal to me. A fire to warm the darkness isn't always a good thing. Posted on TikTok by official GPT and Instagram by GPT official. This clip was captured during the Ghost Panic team's live stream. The footage shows a man shouting into the wilderness. At first, you don't know what's going on as he spins around, but after a time, you see a figure perched in a nearby tree. The figure blends in with its surroundings until it lowers its arms. Then you can distinctly see its face, hair, and body as it remains perched on its limb. As the man talks to it, the figure stands up. Then, inexplicably, a fire is lit at its feet. The cameraman quickly flees the scene. It's unclear what the figure was and how the fire was lit, but by the cameraman's panicked reaction, I have an idea that this figure was nothing less than evil. Some super creepy moments caught on home security video have left a man in India wondering if there is something wrong with his camera or the neighborhood at large. Let's help him decide if this strange activity is paranormal. A loud motorcycle goes by his house twice, so he looks at the security video, which looks fairly normal at first until you notice there's actually no motorcycle and barely the phantom image of a rider. The second time it goes by is extra creepy, because it seems to dissolve away even more and yet the headlights are on the entire time, which could be proof that this paranormal activity is more than just a glitch. A YouTuber named Outdoors Weekly is fishing with his little brother when he gets a little too comfortable with his surroundings and makes the mistake of letting his guard down.
Oh!
No! Oh my god! Oh, dude! Oh! He sees the snake at 2 minutes and 21 seconds, and hears his raised foot approximately 1 second later at 2 minutes and 22 seconds, ready to come down. He was about to step right on it, no doubt about that, but I want to know how bad the bite would have been. Take a look at this reptile. Is this one you can identify? Thanks for the answer if so. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.